Hey guys, welcome in. It is the Rob Kendall Show. Hope you're having a great Wednesday. Thanks for spending it with us. We've got so much Indiana news, politics, and government to get to coming up here in just a little bit. The new Secretary of Commerce. This is unbelievable. Who Mike Braun appointed, what this guy does for a living, and what he's going to continue to do for a living despite the new job that he has with the government. It's totally believable. It's totally par for the Republicans. And it once again proves that everything Braun said about the IEDC, cleaning up even the perception of corruption or unethical behavior or the ability to have said, he's full of it. I saw this yesterday, and we're going to get into it here in a little bit, and my blood was boiling. And there's few things that I see anymore that are like, that is egregious beyond words. But what happened yesterday and what the new Secretary of Commerce is going to continue to do is egregious beyond words. So we'll get to that here in just a little bit. First, though, huge day yesterday at the Indiana Statehouse. Greg Ballard turned in his verified signatures. And there's layers to this that is super interesting. Final total, 41,299. 41,299 verified signatures. So a reminder on how this works. The firm and the volunteers, so Greg Ballard had a firm, he had about 100 volunteers. They go out, they get signatures. Then each set of signatures, they're done by county, are handed in to the county governments. Different counties are set up differently how they verify the signatures. And from those lists then, addresses, names are matched to voter registration. And then those signatures are counted as verified, and then ultimately that is what was turned in yesterday. The number he had to hit is 36,943. So we basically beat it, and I did some of the math here, by less than 5,000 signatures. 4,300-ish signatures, about 12%. He got over the threshold by about 12%. Now look, let's start with this. If Greg Ballard is successful this fall, now success does not mean win. Success means puts up a viable campaign. Success means get over the 10% threshold to get the Lincoln Party that he's trying to form primary ballot access. If he alters the result of the Republican stranglehold on that office, then it will be what he did yesterday, arguably the most important thing to ever happen in Indiana politics and government. He cracked the code. Ballard figured out how to beat the Republicans at their own game and get on the ballot. So for the first part of what we're talking about here, that's amazing. And his team, who put that together, Nathan Gotch and the rest of those people, whether you like Ballard or not, it's unbelievable they did it. Whether you like the guy or you don't, when was the last time this was done? 35 years ago or more when the Libertarians did it. As an actual party. Like there actually was a national Libertarian Party back then. Nobody's done it since. Nobody's been close since. It's unbelievable. And the fact that they not only got the number but beat it by an extra 12% or whatever, even more amazing. However, if you do math, he claimed to have turned in 74,000 signatures. That means, again, doing public school math, the number that he got 4,356 more signatures than he needed. 12% more, roughly. However, that means that almost 34,000 signatures, 33,000 signatures were deemed invalid. Now, you might hear that and you might go, woo, what? That it doesn't mean anything's amiss. It happens all the time, whether it's a Republican or Democrat running for Senate, for governor, they have to get the signatures. It happens. People don't aren't registered to vote where they, in their mind, where they live. They get an address wrong. You can't read it. You have to turn it in. Each page has to be for a specific county. You get it on. You turn in an address from Hendricks County on a Johnson County page. There's a whole bunch of different reasons. It doesn't mean like here they go, oh, is voter fraud? No. It doesn't mean that. But that means a lot of those signatures didn't count. So you think about several weeks ago at the Republican convention when he talked about what, 50,000 signatures? When he came on this show, I forget what the number was. When he came on this show, 60,000. When Nathan Gotch was on with us and it was 70,000. They were pushing that final week. I mean, they came to the parking lot at our live show because they knew, hey, there's going to be, 70 plus people who are all registered to vote are going to be, in one venue. And by the way, that live event was awesome. The Mad Hatter people loved it. You guys were great. We're hopefully going to do one again this fall. It's a lot of work. I don't know. We'll see. They want us to come back, though. They were thrilled to death. The audience we had, they were saying, you beat a lot of known comedians. And that's because of you guys. But the point is they were pushing it through the final day, really, of the eligibility. And you see why now. It's so hard to get the verified signatures. And that's the story. That you had a guy with huge name ID in central Indiana, an ability to raise huge amounts of money for not even being on the ballot in an unknown venture by those standards. He had a professional firm and about 100 volunteers, and he cleared the number by about 12%. That should tell you everything you need to know about how ridiculous the standards actually are, about how, quote unquote, unreachable they are for any regular person. You or me could not pull, well, I might be able to pull it off. I'd have trouble raising the money. The money people don't like me. But no regular person could do this. And that's why when they talk about Ballard forming this Lincoln Party and why it's so important, he's doing this under the brand of the Lincoln Party, even though it's an independent run, so that if you want to run in the future, you don't have to do it. He's paving the way, potentially, depending on how he does this fall, for people from city and town council to governor to Senate to Secretary of State in the future. All of these, Congress, all of these offices won't have to go through what he went through. That there will be a mechanism by which you can now run potentially for public office. Look, that's got to be the ultimate case made by Ballard. We're going to play some audio from yesterday here in a second. That ultimately has to be Ballard's case to the people and where he's going to win most votes. Most people don't know what the Secretary of State does. It's not interesting enough to care in most cases. Now, Ballard, as you're seeing with Bai, has got to make the case about the Republican corruption, the Diego Morales corruption, about the covering up of Diego, all that stuff. He's got to make that case too. But the biggest argument Greg Ballard should be making across the state over the next several months is I'm running for you, literally. Even if you don't like me, you should vote for me because it will help you. He's the only person in the race who can say that. He's the only guy running to create new access for people, even the libertarians. They already have the access. She, Lori Schillings, the libertarian, can't say that. Now, just like with Ballard, I hope the libertarians at least get their 2% they need to keep their ballot access. The more voices, the better. It doesn't make any sense to take one voice out and then add another voice. We need more voices. But Greg Ballard now has an opportunity to run across this state and look at every single person he comes in contact with and say, I'm running for you. I'm running to give you the opportunity to have a voice. Will you take it? He's the only person who can say that. And he should say that everywhere he goes. Every debate, every speech, every campaign event, every parade, everything he does over the next several months should be, I'm running for you. Those words should come out of his mouth everywhere he goes. Because who's going to say, well, I don't want to vote for me. All right, so a couple audios from Ballard yesterday. So they had this big event at the Statehouse. He turns in the signatures. There's a whole bunch of supporters. He's got the boxes there in front of him. Look, I think they kind of missed an opportunity. I get it. They want to look professional. They did. It was fine. It was well done from a, just a purely operation standpoint. I don't feel like they captured the moment yesterday. They could have made those signatures. They were in boxes. They had them in boxes. They were in front of him. He's given a speech. I felt like they could have made it way more, look at me. Like drawn more media attention than he actually got. He was a story yesterday. I don't think he was the story. And he should have been the story. He's a story. I heard and saw it all over the news. He got lots of publicity. But the showman in me was like, damn, what a missed opportunity. If I were him, and this is what I would have done, and I don't know if I said it on the air or not, but I told him this. I said, if I were you, I would have brought a Brinks truck. And, get the flashers or one, even if it's not a Brinks truck, a truck with the flashers, the loud sound, beep, beep, beep. You back the thing up. You get guys that come out wheeling the signatures out on dollies. Yeah, Trump would have done it. That's right. It's like Trump going to the McDonald's. See, this is why I do well. I know people. I am a showman. Marketer extraordinaire. Missed opportunity. I would have got like a Brinks truck. You have it beeping, backing up. The media comes and films it. You got guys in the shirts coming out there wheeling the signatures out on dollies. Like the armored guard shirts. It's Indiana's constitutional carry state now. Maybe even have them with the firearms as long as they're legally able to possess them. That's how you get across the state. You got to bring some showmanship to this. One of the things that I fear about this race, because Engling is as boring as dried paint. Bai is somewhat robotic, although I got to say, Bo's brought some smoke so far. But kind of plasticky. Ballard, little long in the tooth, very, very diplomatic in his nature, very distinguished person, not disputing that. And Schillings has 7 cents, even though she seems kind of fun. I'm worried this race will be more boring than it should be. We have such an opportunity here, guys, and they should be putting the content for this show first. Let's get the gloves off. Let's get nasty. Let's make some headlines. Look, this has the potential to be, and I'm not joking or being facetious when I say this, the most important event that's ever happened in Indiana political history if he does well. But you got to make media opportunities. Ballard will raise some money. He won't raise enough on his own. You got to make the media opportunities. And Ballard doesn't have the personality that if he just shows up somewhere, people are going to flock to him. You got to create it. And yesterday was kind of an opportunity to create it. It was fine. Look, get me wrong. It was fine. It was very professional. It was well done. It was dignified. I don't think in 2026, well done and dignified is going to cut it, though, for the amount of attention he's going to need to get. They need a guy like me or Jason going around with them, because that's what we do. We come up with ways to get attention. All right, let's get to some of Ballard yesterday. Got 2 audios to play of Ballard. I'll let him play, and then I'll tell you what I thought of what he said. Here's the first one. Take a listen.
The status quo is over. For too long, our government has been conducted behind closed doors by the same insiders, by the same parties, and the same rules written to protect the same people. They continue to treat our elections like a private club and then hand Hoosier taxpayers the bill. What we have today is not consent of the government. This is not the Indiana that Hoosiers deserve. Our current political system asks for your vote, but ignores your voices. We have politicians who fight to empower our parties. What Hoosiers really want is accountability, honesty, and results. The two-party stranglehold on Indiana politics is a relic, a political dinosaur long overdue for extinction. Our campaign is bigger than one candidate. It is bigger than one office. And insiders from both establishment parties know it.
He's right on all of that. He's got to be the salesman with it, though. And so I come back to what I just said. I always talk about how all things being equal, politics, elections are about messaging. Now, if some guy's got $20 million and you got $5, then that's not equal. But you put everybody in a level playing field. And, we've talked for years in the old radio show about this, door hanger elections, in which if you're a local candidate, and I say that kind of from state senate on down, all things being equal, you come up with 3 or 4 issues. You put them on a door hanger, you put them big so that in the 30 seconds it takes from somebody to get the door hanger off your door and take it to the trash, that's what they'll remember about you. And you're going to ride or die with those 4 issues. You're going to sink or swim. Every question you get asked, you pivot back somehow to one of those 3 or 4 issues. Because when somebody goes to vote, that's what you want them to think about. Okay, your name, this is you. And in the case of Ballard, he cannot let the minutia of the office weigh down his campaign. Everywhere he goes, he should have 2 talking points. If I were door hanger election Ballard, if I were to turn it into a door hanger election, the 2 things would be Republican corruption that is still there and the cover-up of Diego. And I would sell it as I'm running for you. Those are the 2 things when people see you, they want to remember. They don't know about business services. I check on the businesses. He checks on the businesses. And by the way, they don't know about any of that. They don't know about, the average person, look, the political people are super into the elections. The average person just knows, hey, I have to show an ID to go vote. Here's where my polling places are. Here's where my vote center is. Here's the hours of voting. That's the average person, which is who he's trying to get. There are other things that they do, the auto dealers, all that stuff. The average person don't care. You have to frame this, if you are Greg Ballard, around Republican corruption, Diego Morales, and I'm running for you. He's right about the stuff he said. Now he's got to go sell it. He has to make the 2 parties the relic. He is right that he has the opportunity to do it, but he has to do it. And there is so much riding on this now. Because if he fails, and look, failure will be him not getting 10%. Simply getting that 2% and becoming a party that nominates at a convention, it's fine, it's nice, it's new, people to participate. It's good, right? Anything is better than what we have. But the win is the 10%. The win is primary ballot access, because that'll get some real dudes and dudettes just to consider running. The Libertarians have had this 2% access, general election access for years. What do? It's squirrels. A lot of times. They've had some good Libertarians that have run. Don Rainwater 2020 ran a good campaign. It just happened to be, the issue for Don was made for him, which was the COVID stuff. Jeff Moore 2022, Secretary of State, good candidate. Mark Rutherford, those type of people who run for Secretary are good candidates. But by and large, there's never been a Libertarian. They've been like, that's somebody that could bring it home. They've never produced that person. That candidate. Ballard can do that, can produce those people. if he gets the 10% because of the amount of free media, taxpayer-subsidized media, the primary ballot gets you. And I know somebody asked this the other day, what do you mean by taxpayer-subsidized media? Exposure. What I mean is, when you go vote in a primary, they ask you, do you want a Republican or Democrat ballot? Because those are the two primaries. The Lincoln Party getting the primary ballot access, they would then ask you, do you want a Republican, Democrat, or Lincoln Party ballot? And every person, the hundreds of thousands or millions of people, or how many people vote in a primary, depending on the election, will hear the name Lincoln Party. Every ballot, then when you see the sample ballots on the county election websites, it'll have Lincoln Party. People will interview, the media will interview candidates running in a primary. If there's no primary, there's no one to interview. They're not going to interview people running for a convention. And that free media, earned media, whatever you want to call it, mixture of both, will get better people to run. Because it gives you a better opportunity to make a difference in November. Let's do one other clip here from Greg Ballard. It's Greg Ballard yesterday, his big presser, turning in his 41,299 signatures. Take a listen.
They fought hard to keep us off the ballot. In fact, both Republicans and Democrats tried to convince me to not run or to drop out. Trust me, that is not happening. They tried to make the rules so difficult, the threshold so hard to meet, and so unfair that ordinary citizens would give up. But tens of thousands of Hoosiers stood up and said, no more. We want another choice. We want real competition. We want our state back. The Republican and the Democrat in this race were each nominated at closed party conventions by about 1,000 party insiders. Today, I am delivering more than 40,000 verified signatures from Hoosiers who signed these petitions because they are fed up, they're frustrated, and they are angry. Now, we are on the ballot. We are not here to whisper. We are here to break open this system and give Indiana back to her people.
I'll tell you what, it's amazing he did it. It was not surprising to me. Apparently it was surprising to most of the Republicans, but it was not surprising to me. It was an unbelievable accomplishment. He takes a victory lap. The state now has, I believe, until August 8th to certify. So what will happen now is the Democrats and Republicans will send attorneys in. They will pour through the signatures. Now, look, for 4,356 signatures getting dropped out is going to be a lot. That's going to be a heavy task. And so barring something super unforeseen, he will be on the ballot. They have until August 8th to certify. The state does. One of the real concerns from people, and it needs to be addressed, is that there is a fear of retribution for people who signed for Greg Ballard. Like people who are Republicans, like me, who said, I support competition. I support more voices. I support people who are forced to pay for government being able to participate in government. There's a real fear that these parties are going to go through these lists and make notes of who signed. Now, they've said, no, we're not doing that. We're not going to try to label you in bad standing if you signed. My question about me is, I've already been banned from the Lincoln Day dinner. Will I be double banned? Will I be double kicked, double not able to go? Messaging is going to be so important for Greg Ballard. I hope he takes the right approach of framing this as an election about you and an election about Republican corruption. All right, guys, a couple of housekeeping items. We're going to get to this new Secretary of Commerce. This is ridiculous beyond belief. And they even by my standards, right? And I think every time I think I've seen it all, it's just like, what is happening here? But a couple things before we get to that. Number one, help us out. If you like what we do, if you like the idea of an all-local program that primarily does Indiana news and politics and government, help us grow. We're like the little engine that could over here. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel. 3 ways you can do it. First of all, the like, right? Pretty simple. You're watching us now. You're watching us on demand. Hit the thumbs up button. Give us that little thumbs up on YouTube. If you're listening to us on Apple, on Spotify, on iHeart, thousands and thousands of people over there, give us that 5-star review. Write us a good review. Help us out there. Second of all, share it out. Whatever platform you're watching or listening to us on, share it out. Facebook, Twitter, all the places. And last, and probably most important, subscribe to the channel. Like, share, subscribe. That's how you can help the Rob Kendall Show grow. Also, big numbers rolling in. You guys are Rustin's like, I'm going to have to order more food. October 3rd, we're having a party at John Russ' house. And it is for you, the fabulous viewers and listeners of the Rob Kendall Show. It's to celebrate America's 250th birthday. John has an awesome palatial estate in Seymour. He's inviting everyone to it. There's going to be patriotic music, antique car show, lunch catered by Double D's. I'm going to give a speech about how awesome our country is and a whole lot more, and there's no fee for any of this. You got to get yourself there, but once you're there, a little birthday cake because it's Jason's birthday. October the 3rd, Saturday, event starts at noon. You do have to RSVP because John needs a head count. You're going to get lunch, the cake, all the stuff. RSVP, rustforamerica@gmail.com, rustforamerica@gmail.com. Come hang out with us. Let's have a blast. And the best part is somebody else is paying for it. How can you beat that? Hey, found your next home but haven't sold your current one yet? One of the biggest challenges homeowners face is coordinating the sale of their current home with the purchase of their next one. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps Central Indiana families explore bridge loan and home equity loan solutions that may provide more flexibility during the transition. Whether you're moving up, you're downsizing, or need access to your home's equity, Gary takes the time to understand your goals and walk you through options. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more. Loansbygary.homes. Gary Tedrow, Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 179207, equal housing lender. You know, Gary, we talk about this show growing, and we've had a lot of great sponsors. And there have been some of them who have been with us from the beginning. Gary is one of those. Gary was a big fan of the old radio show. He said, I love what you did. I love the message that you have. I want to support you wherever you go, whatever you do. I said, well, here's where we're going. He said, great, sign me up for it. Support people, even if you don't need the service. Get a hold of the people. Thank them. Guys like Gary, who've been with us from the beginning, who we wouldn't be able to be here and do this every day. Loansbygary.homes. Loansbygary.homes is how you can get in contact with Gary. Thank him for supporting our show. It goes a long way, guys, to keeping these sponsors in the fold and us keeping this program going long term. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, this is unbelievable. Braun has introduced Chuck Goodrich as the new Secretary of Commerce, and what this guy does for a living should scare the hell out of you. The fact that he's going to stay with what he does for a living while he's going to be in charge of what he's going to be in charge of should scare you even more. Unbelievable, even by Republican standards. Gross beyond words. We'll play you the audio. We'll tell you about it next when we come back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Did you know Honeysuckle Hill in Brazil offers more than just a fabulous made-from-scratch meal at the bistro? It also has an adjoining cottage, great for a perfect, relaxing weekend away with a scenic waterfront view. The cottage offers 3 bedrooms, 2 baths with spa-like tile showers, full kitchen, living room with fireplace, laundry facilities, and a full deck overlooking the lake. And Andy, one of the owners, delivers breakfast in a picnic basket at 8:30 each morning. Plan the perfect weekend away at the scenic Honeysuckle Hill property on the water in beautiful Brazil. Book today by visiting their website at honeysucklehillb.com.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. We so appreciate you. We're going to get into this just unbelievable thing that the governor's done, who he's appointed to be the Secretary of Commerce, what this guy's going to do here in just a moment. Your blood is going to boil, so get ready. But first, leaky chimney, water in the basement, cracks around the exterior of your home, Bramwell Mackay. Property Services and Consultants is your authority for chimney repair, tuck pointing, foundation repair, crawl space to basement conversions, basement waterproofing, and more. Bramwell Mackay doesn't offer quick patches. Their team of 40-year master masons and industry experts address the root cause and provide solutions that last lifetimes. Your home is one of your biggest investments. Treat it that way. Bramwell Mackay, BRAMWELLMCKAY, BramwellMackay.com, your masonry, foundation, and chimney specialists. Okay, here we go. These guys. So just a reminder, let's do the history of the IEDC for a second, shall we? So the IEDC, the Indian Economic Development Corporation, is a shadow quasi-government entity. And I know many of you know this. You've been listening for years. We have new people in all the time. It is a shadow quasi-government entity that is funded by our government but doesn't play by all the rules of our government. And the job of the IEDC is to hand out dollars and hand out incentives for businesses to come to the state of Indiana. And there is a lot of shadiness, a lot of corruption, a lot of unethical behavior that has gone on with the IEDC, especially over the last decade or so. And much of this was laid out in articles by the Indy Star. Our friend Indy reporter, who we'll talk about here in a second, he has done research on this, in which you realize that the IEDC, using our tax money, money taken from poor and middle-class people, is a legalized, glorified money laundering scheme. And if anybody from the IEDC would ever like to have a conversation or push back on that, you're welcome to come in. The stuff the IEDC does, the way it has behaved, the manner in which it has behaved. There was an article in the Indy Star, you can go back and read it, about a year ago now, about the three kings. 3 major power players who were partially in charge of delegating where IEDC dollars went. And many of these dollars went to companies either they were directly affiliated with or through their friends, business associates. Brazen corruption. And if you doubt me and say, oh, Rob, he's a shock jock, he just says things for ratings. The governor apparently felt so strongly about it that he got rid of the whole IEDC board, brought all new people in. Oh, and he spent $800,000 to audit the IEDC. So if that's not what you call it, I'm welcome to hear other names for it. And then why did the governor get rid of the whole board and bring all new people in and spend $800,000 of our money to audit the IEDC? Now, we told you when he did all this, nothing was going to change because that's what Braun does. People get pissed off about something. He says, I'm going to do something. And then the thing he does doesn't fix anything. And then he considers the problem solved and he goes on to the next thing. And so that's the history of the IEDC. That's who and what the IEDC is in a very, very short nutshell. Which brings us to yesterday, and our friend Indy reporter put this out there at Indy_reporter_ on Twitter. Stephen Whitmer is his name. He's been on our program before. Now, this is not an endorsement of all of Stephen's views or social media commentary, but Stephen does a hell of a job of reading government documents and parsing through things and watching meetings and things that need to be done, and he is willing to do them, and that I support. People all the time are like, well, Stephen Whitmer said blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. I'm not telling you to vote for him for governor. I'm telling you he has a website where he exposes all sorts of stuff going on in the government, and we need more people doing that, and that I do support. You can have it both ways. And so Stephen, as he often is, noticed this before anybody else. I don't know who the reporter that asked this question was, so I'm not trying to deliberately not identify the person. I don't know who it was. By the way, the audio of what we're about to talk about, a whole bunch of it is not what we're going to play for you, but the video was choppy. It was like an AOL video from 1999. It was like, we're the government. Can't you guys? Like, I know anything can happen, but this seems like it happens a lot with government live streams. Do you not have the good internet? Do we need to upgrade at the Statehouse? But anyway, so yesterday, Chuck Goodrich was rolled out as the new Secretary of Commerce, a.k.a. the guy that's in charge of the IEDC, which means he's in charge of incentives of our money that is given out to attract corporations. Now, Goodrich joins a long line of losers in elections that Mike Braun has allowed to fail up. Goodrich was a state rep. He ran for Congress against Victoria Sparks. He spent a whole bunch of his own money, and he got completely smoked. Got beat by like 18 percentage points. I think it ended up being close to 70,000 votes he lost by. He got smoked. The people of the 5th District, even though Victoria Sparks was the option, was like, give us her. Again, please. That should tell you everything you need to know about Chuck Goodrich. But whether it's Susie Jaworski or Jennifer Ruth Green, Braun is never afraid to take someone who was resoundingly rejected by the voters, or just rejected by the voters in some cases, and say, let me give you an even better position. Sure, the people said they didn't want you. Here's something better. I mean, that happens all the time, right? Happened under Holcomb, too. Look at who our comptroller is. She lost at the Republican convention running for treasurer. And they were like, we know you lost. We know you got beat. But here's another job. Now you get to be the comptroller. And so in the latest, in the long line of losers that Mike Braun has elevated, Chuck Goodrich, despite being resoundingly rejected by his neighbors and friends, well, maybe his friends voted for him. I don't know. He has now been named the Commerce Secretary. Now, Chuck Goodrich is stupid rich. He runs a company called Gaylor Electric. He's the CEO. And Gaylor Electric is important because they have received incentives from the state of Indiana. The same sort of incentives, conceivably, that Chuck Goodrich will now oversee. And Gaylor Electric is also heavily involved in building data centers. And I'm going to read you what Gaylor Electric on their own website says about what they do with data centers. So you don't have to take my word for it. Gaylor Electric has designed and built some of the largest, most robust data centers in the country. Partnering with world-renowned clients, we have established ourselves as industry leaders in this critical sector. Over the past several years, data center construction has played an integral role in the overall growth of our business. The guy who is going to be in charge of economic incentives for data centers makes his living building data centers. Just last year, our governor told you the IEDC was so corrupt and unethical and untrustworthy and untransparent, he removed the board, or the board removed themselves at his behest, and appointed an all-new board. He spent $800,000 of public money to audit that organization. And what does he do? He puts a guy in charge of it who will decide incentives, economic development incentives for data centers, who makes his living in large part building data centers. Let me read it to you again in case you didn't get it the last time. Gaylor Electric has designed and built some of the largest, most robust data centers in the country. Partnering with world-renowned clients, we've established ourselves as industry leaders in this critical sector. Over the past several years, data center construction has played an integral role in the overall growth of our business. He's going to be in charge of taking our money and giving it to data centers, and he builds data centers. How is this okay? The answer is it's not. Now, one might think the obvious answer, even though it still wouldn't make it okay, would be he's going to, of course, leave that position, right? So he gets asked about this yesterday at his press conference. And again, the reporter did not identify themselves. So I would like to give credit. I don't know who this was. I asked. Nobody seemed to be able to give me an answer. So I'm not trying to, because whoever asked this question was great. And Chuck Goodrich says yesterday that despite being in charge of incentives for data centers on a company that builds data centers, and previously having received incentives from the very organization he will now oversee, he is not quitting his position as the CEO of Gaylor Electric and will now be the Secretary of Commerce as well. You guys bet if you're driving, hold on to the wheel with both hands. If you're sitting, hold on to the table because you're going to be enraged by this. Listen to this.
Yeah, so another great question, because we spent 6 weeks before announcing I would become the Secretary of Commerce of literally separating duties. I remain the CEO of Gaylor, and I will be the Secretary of Commerce. Now, how we do that is we have screenings at Gaylor Electric, and we have screenings at the state. And so we have people in charge of making sure that there's no issue between the business of the state and business of Gaylor. And so, for me, again, the idea of creating jobs is what we built Gaylor on, opportunities for Hoosiers. And I think when you look at the governor and what's been happening and where we're going, we're going to grow talent. We have to grow talent. You cannot talk about economic development without having talent. So we're going to grow talent. We're literally going to grow people, and we're going to grow Indiana.
I can still say it now because I'm not on the radio yet. That's bullshit. Every person should be outraged. Every person should be outraged. This guy is going to continue to run a company that makes money off data centers and all sorts of other construction projects, right? They don't just do data centers. Go to their website, Gaylor Electric. They're a megacorp. And I bet you a whole bunch of these projects that the IEDC approves our money to go to, his company could potentially be doing the work for. This comes on the heels of numerous articles about how corrupt and unethical the IEDC was, we can say is now because we're right back into it, to the point that the governor spent $800,000 of public money to audit them and got rid of the whole board. And he picked this guy and is not required. It would be a red flag even if he weren't, even if he were resigning. Given all of the outrage, the confusion, the concern, the claim about needing to deal with data centers because we got to address the power issues from the governor himself. And this is who he picks. Oh, and by the way, didn't the now departed guy that was the head of this before him, who's now got a special advisory role to the governor, didn't he just get like a $75,000 bonus before he left? Adams, wasn't that his last name? Every lawmaker, Republican or Democrat, should demand an immediate stop to this. Where the hell is the lieutenant governor who ran against the IEDC? Where is he at? Every single person in that Statehouse, Daniel Elliott, Elise Nishala, Todd Rokita, every single person in that building should demand that this not stand. Mike Braun should be ashamed of himself. One, to pick him, and two, to not demand that he resign. I keep saying it, I like thinking it'll change, and obviously it's not going to change. The man makes money doing electrical projects for mega corporations, and his new job is to attract mega corporations to the state of Indiana. And he gives some ridiculous thing. What did he say about I can't remember what word he used. And given the track record of the IEDC to prevent any sort of corruption or unethical behavior, and given the track record of the IEDC, we're supposed to be like, oh yeah, that seems fine. If I'm Bo Bai, I think I just scrap the whatever ads I had planned for the next couple of weeks, and I just run ads on this. This is the Republican Party. This is why Diego Morales was allowed to get away with it. It's brazen. They don't hide it. They're not even hiding it anymore. They used to kind of hide it, and you had to search for it. It's brazen. Every media outlet in the state should be running stories on this, that the head of this mega electrical company that does projects for other mega corporations, plus data centers, at a time where we're told, yeah, we're really digging into the data centers. We're really scrutinizing the data centers. We're coming up with a plan to deal with the data centers. This is the guy that's going to head the IEDC, going to head incentives, and he's not even going to have to resign his position. It is just, you can't hate these people enough. When I say you can't hate these people enough, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This isn't about you. It isn't about helping you. It isn't about helping our state. It isn't about making our state better. There's no possible world where Mike Braun, of any sort of sound mind, would think of all the people I could appoint to head up this position after I myself have indicted the organization repeatedly. You would pick this guy and think it's going to be seen as anything other than what I'm describing. They hate you. Stop voting for them. Stop voting for the Republicans. This is what they're for. Because you know what? It's been a whole day and I haven't heard anybody come out against it in the Statehouse. The same way as nobody came out against Diego until he was going to lose. Stop voting for the Republicans. Stop letting them get away with this. Stop letting this be okay. Stop thinking because they say stuff that they're any different than the other guy, the other side. Absolutely shameful behavior. Hey guys, it's Wednesday. Something that's not shameful are the wings at Double D's Barbecue in Clayton. And it's Wednesday wing special. Jumbo wings, that's the special today. Ribs, brisket, and more. That's what they do at Double D's Southern Barbecue in Clayton. The owners, Dennis and Tina, they are super serious, along with their son Garrett, because they're from Memphis, about barbecue. So at Double D's, it's authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. They're the winner of best ribs and best sauce at Rib Fest in Hendricks County. They're not screwing around. It's a little bit of a trip, but it's totally worth the drive. Ask our pal, viewer extraordinaire, wing connoisseur, self-described, C. Mills. He went and got the wing special last week. Ask him what he thought about it. If you're looking for something different, that's the place for you. Double D's Barbecue, right near 40 and 39 in Clayton. Check them out. Get the full menu. Ribs, brisket, and more. DDBBQ317.com. DDBBQ317.com. All right. When we come back, we have the audio. We told you we were going to play this yesterday. J.D. Prescott, he has this disastrous plan to raise taxes on Hoosiers by upwards of $4 billion. He's trying to sell you it's great because it would get rid of your property taxes. He had an event the other night. There is audio from the event and specific things that he said. Look, I already got your blood boiling. I don't want you to calm down too much. I figure we'll just put it all together. You won't believe what he actually said, what he admitted out loud about his plan to raise taxes by $4 billion and how defending government is way more important than helping you. We'll tell you about it. We'll play it for you when we come back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salt, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. Got a worn-out fence or deck? They can revive the look while providing long-term protection. Call today, 317-548-2002, or visit sealnow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but mention you heard about Seal Now on the Rob Kendall Show and receive 20% off any long-term sealing project.
Is the inside of your house a total mess, like a complete dumpster fire? Call AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning. When you walk into your house after using AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning, you will see and smell the difference. They take great pride in their workers and treat your home like their own. All cleaners pass through a background check and drug screening. Call today and mention you heard about AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning on the Rob Kendall Show, and you will get an incredible $50 off your first clean. AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning serves all of Central Indiana. Book your appointment today by calling 317-530-8148. 317-530-8148.
If authentic wood-smoked barbecue is your thing, Double D's Barbecue in Clayton is the place for you. Owners Dennis and Tina Duncan, along with their son Garrett, are from Memphis. So when it comes to barbecue, they're not screwing around. No pellet smokers, no roasters, just authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. All of Double D's food is cooked fresh daily, and it's all made from scratch. Double D's Barbecue, located at 40 and 39 in Clayton, is open all day, Wednesday through Saturday, but get there early because once they're sold out, they're done. Check out the full menu, ribs, brisket, and more at ddbbq317.com.
Hey guys, welcome back. It is the Rob Kendall Show. You know, nobody does Indiana news, politics, and government like us. And again, we ask you, help us grow this show. Like, share, and subscribe. If you haven't done so yet today, hit that little thumbs up button. I know it's a small request, whether you're watching us live or on demand. Small request really helps us grow this program. And I know many of you check us out maybe a little bit live on the YouTube and then on demand on the podcasting platforms. It's been gangbusters the past couple of months. I remember when we started the show, told Jason, I was like, maybe we should just do it on YouTube and force everybody to go there. And people are like, no. You got to do the other places. And man, I'll tell you what, they were right. A lot of people listening on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, all of the places. Don't forget, you can find all the places we're at. If you're like, I wonder if they're on this app, and the link to it at robkendallshow.com. robkendallshow.com. We also have articles of our favorite segments each day that we post up there. Support button if you like what we do. If you want to contribute a few bucks, throw a few shekels our way. We don't turn anything down. We're grateful for every penny that we get. All available, robkendallshow.com. All right. So this property tax plan, look, again, I know it's a reoccurring theme or a broken record, whatever you want to call it, but I cannot reiterate this to you enough. And I told this to the governor. and I have told this to anybody who would listen. You cannot fix property taxes without demanding local governments do with less. And with less, I mean less money. You cannot fix property taxes without demanding that local governments do more with less. The whole premise of property tax caps was that local governments are completely out of control. The whole reason we got property tax caps 18 years ago was local governments were treating people's homes like their unlimited personal piggy bank, and the people said no more. And we have somehow lost the plot over time that's why the caps existed to begin with. Because everything we hear about when we talk about reforming the property tax system, well, we can't hurt the local governments. Well, this might affect the local governments. I don't care. I don't care. I paid enough. I paid enough. I paid enough. I'm done paying. I'm done paying for local governments to have swimming pools and rec centers and dog parks and all the stuff. I'm done with it. I'm absolutely done with it. I'm sick of hearing that they can't do with less. They can't make it work. Reflexive pools, taxpayer-funded hotels, palladiums. I'm sick of it. I'm done with all of it. And until our state operates from the standpoint of local governments need to do with less so people can be protected, you'll never fix this system. So we go back again to our old pal, Indy reporter. Again, I can't stress enough, you don't have to agree with everything he says or any of it. He has some spicy views. Sometimes it gets him in a little trouble. But in terms of there are not enough people out there doing what he does. At Indy_reporter_ on Twitter, digging through documents, going to meetings, filming events, clipping audio, clipping video from state meetings. This guy is doing the work of like 50 people. So we promote that. And we need more people doing that. He went to one of these meetings, these town halls that J.D. Prescott had. J.D. Prescott is a state rep, Randolph County, who has presented this bill to get rid of property taxes. And we've laid out for you the gory details of it. It raised taxes by upwards of $4 billion. And he gets asked in this town hall about why he doesn't demand that there be mandatory spending cuts for local governments. Probably a fan of our show. And just a reminder, the bill, yes, it would eliminate property taxes, but it raises sales tax or creates a sales tax of 7% on services in which the public ends up paying more taxes by about $4 billion. So he gets asked about why he won't demand local governments cut spending. Because then you could have like a lower sales tax on services and actually end up doing something that creates a positive net gain for the taxpayers. You know, the people you go there to serve. He then proceeds to acknowledge that taxes are going up by billions. It's one of the first times I've heard him, kind of admit that. But he says that's okay because local governments wouldn't give him permission to do it otherwise. He admits, or appears to admit in this audio we're about to play for you, so nobody can assert that I'm making this up. You'll hear it for your own ears. He admits he believes that he needs the permission of the government, of local governments, to do something to help you. It's exactly what I've been telling you guys for years. How many times do we end up being proven right? These people are scared to death of mayors and superintendents. They are scared to death of mayors and superintendents. So you hear Prescott say that he only way he could get permission to do property tax reform was to not cost local governments any money. So that's why you're going to get screwed. And then it all goes downhill from there. Take a listen.
And then on why not cut spending? So, I mean, obviously you have to fund local units of government. You have to. So we can debate whether, raising 13 to 15 billion versus the roughly 11 billion, the 10.6 billion is too much versus not enough. But one, you got to incentivize local units of government to try to support the plan. If they're just getting a dollar for dollar match, they're not going to be on board, right? I mean, why get rid of a system they're already comfortable with? So part of it's trying to incentivize local units of government to buy into support the plan. Point two, building up those healthy reserves, making sure you've got a very healthy surplus to be able to withstand an economic downturn. And then, but beyond that, once you've made sure you've got enough funds to replenish the property tax, and the other part of it is a new tax structure, right? These are estimates from LSA, so I would rather err on the high side versus come up short and have to end up raise 1/4 or 0.5% later on. What I think is truly needed is probably around 5.5% or 6%. And I do have a mechanism in place with the previous drafted version of the bill to where once those healthy reserves are built up, you would actually drop the rate 0.25% at a time. So I keep aiming that because you're right, we don't need to just over collect. But at the same point, we do have to make sure we're adequately funding local units of government.
So there you heard it. He admits he's overtaxing you. Look, just the brazen nature of it. Yeah, it's probably 5.5%. What did I tell you guys? What did I say the number was? 5. The number's 5. You actually end up with a win for the taxpayers at 5 and you get everybody out of property taxes. I told him that to his face in his office a year ago. If you guys remember when I had the debate with Jamie Rittenauer on the old radio show, because remember they wouldn't let her on the debate stage. So I said, well, that's ridiculous. The plan I put forward, I said, because, I played opposition to give her a chance to have publicity because it was ridiculous. They were cutting qualified candidates who were on the ballot off the debate stage. So I said, I'll play the opposition. I said it there. The number's 5. And by the way, the huge winner in all of this, which we didn't get into in that clip, are the businesses. Businesses are going to make millions of dollars, in some cases annually, with his plan. You're going to lose money. He admitted he feels he has to bribe local governments to go along with him. He has to bribe local governments. He needs their consent. The government, he's a state lawmaker, for crying out loud. He is a state lawmaker. And he told in a meeting in a room full of people, I need the local government's permission to help you out. If I don't get them in, and by the way, he admits it's not even dollar for dollar. He admits the governments are going to make money off of this. He admits you're going to get your taxes raised. He admits he's overtaxing you, and he does it without a second thought. J.D. Prescott is one of the biggest dumbasses in the Statehouse. And it just pains me to no end that he is the guy carrying the torch on my great, beautiful dream of getting rid of property taxes. It's so much of this is who carries bills. One of the reasons weed never moves forward is Jim Lucas has previously been the face. Now they got the Bohachik guy as the face. You can't make that up, right? What do those guys have in common? Anyone? Bueller? Bohachik? Lucas? Bueller? Anyone? Maybe somebody in the chat. Hey, anybody in the chat, the YouTube chat, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. Can anybody tell me what Mike Bohachik and Jim Lucas have in common? Weed was never going to move forward, though, because people can't stand Lucas. And people don't. Prescott's an idiot. This plan is so sloppy. It's so poorly put together. It isn't well thought through. To admit to the public, you should be on board with my plan, which takes more money from you than we're taking right now because I'm afraid of the superintendent. What a gutless, spineless weasel. Why would any person, JD, why would any person under God's green earth be like, yeah, I'm going to pay more in taxes. That's awesome, man. Thanks for all your help. But again, we've told you this for years. These people are petrified of the superintendent. They're petrified of the mayor. Why? Because that's where they believe their challenge is going to come from. Local government. It's the same reason they won't reform local government. They don't want to piss the trustee off. They don't want to piss the county councilor off, because that's where they believe their most likely source of a viable challenge comes from. They don't fear us. And I'm not saying fear in a physical sense. I'm saying fear in terms of political retribution. These people, like J.D. Prescott, are weasels. They always take path of least resistance. I tried to work with the guy. I tried to help him. Just like I tried to work with Braun. I tried to help him. That's why we're out of that game. We don't work with no one anymore. We don't try to help no more. These people have no shame. I mean, he knows he has to know he's being recorded. And again, God bless the Indy reporter who went to that meeting and did that on his own at Indy_reporter_. And by the way, isn't that amazing how often you say that? And by the way, once you start thinking about it, Steven says mean things about me all the time in the YouTube chat. So it's not like, oh, those guys, yeah. But I support people who go do the work, who do the things to expose the stuff. Because let's face it, we have 2 segments that we've done for you today showing how rotten your government is, that this guy of his own time and money, he's not making any money off of it, hadn't done it, we wouldn't be out there. We need to support those local citizen journalist type of people who are willing to give us information. This bill is an abomination. It needs to die a quick and painful death. And until, look, there is no point, and I told I won't tell you what office he is because that might narrow it down, and I don't want to get this person in trouble because they're very well thought of in the Statehouse. It's a very powerful person, and they would be cut off from their daily existence if people found out they were talking to me on the regular. I told somebody this not that long ago. They called about property tax, and I said, look, unless you're talking about these things, there's no point in us having a conversation anymore about property taxes. And that's true with every lawmaker and the governor. 3 things. Number 1, as long as you're going to have referendums, which Prescott's bill, I guess the one thing, it does get rid of the referendums. Okay, it does because there ain't no more property taxes. So there ain't no referendum. Although they'll come up with a referendum for the sales tax on services. You watch. Or at least right now, let's give him some credit. He does get rid of referendums. Sure, you're going to pay $4 billion more in taxes, but he does you a little solid by getting rid of the referendums. Any bill that doesn't do the following things, all of these things, no point in talking about it. Number 1, referendums got to go. As long as the local governments can, anytime they don't get the money they want, throw one of these things on the ballot and force you to fight for your right to tax caps, no point in talking about it. You're not going to fix the system. You can reform all you want, but if the government, anytime they don't like the reform, can bypass the reform, the system doesn't work. Number 2, local governments have to be told to do more with less. Any bill that doesn't start from that premise, failed, doomed. I'm not interested. And number 3, and this may be the most important thing of all, and it is the assessments. We have to solve the assessment crisis in which people get punished for something their neighbor does, which is capitalize a capital gain, sell their home. Until we are willing to sit down and say these issues have to be addressed first and foremost. Referendums eliminated. Assessments, we have to come up with some answer to why it's okay that people keep getting their taxes raised based on someone else making money. And local governments have to be told to do more with less. You'll never solve the issue. Every idea is stupid. Every idea is pointless. See the idea they came up with last year, and how did that work out? The crazy thing about this is, and they hate me, so they would never let me do this. Just like I told Braun last year, 2 years ago, whenever that was, last year. It seems so long ago now. I told him, I was like, we'll form that Indiana Doge. I need a budget of $2 million. I'll find you $2 billion in savings. I said, I'll do it in 6 months. $2 million investment to save $2 billion. What a deal, right? I said, the only caveat is you can't spend the savings. It has to go back to the people. And we would have done it. It would have been easy. I had the plan. I had the people. I was taking it very serious, if you guys recall, because they at least pretended like maybe there was some sort of interest in doing that. Same thing here. You can solve property taxes pretty easy, but you have to be willing to have the hard conversations, and they don't want to do it. And that's the key. Weasels, wimps like J.D. Prescott are more interested in making local governments happy than taking care of you. And until that gets resolved, and until we change that mindset, nothing is going to change. Okay, one other piece of audio I wanted to get to here today, and then Jason can retire the audio folder. Yeah, like it's so hard. It's hard for Jason because he's got to monitor the YouTube chat for the best comments of the day to wrap up the show, but then he's also got to play the audio when I tell him. So Trump went on NBC, and he's talking about the strikes on Iran. And he's the usual, they're going to be so big, they're going to be so intense, blah, 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 blah. I'm just sick of hearing it. Then he says they need to go back to the table and negotiate. He goes through this whole thing, and then he says Iran needs to get back to the table and negotiate. He literally just the other day, we played you the audio, right? I didn't imagine this. I think this was Monday, wasn't it? He just said, you can't trust these people, and the MOU was a waste of time. He just said you can't trust these people, and the MOU was a waste of time. And now he's saying Iran needs to come back to the table. Just play the audio, and then we'll respond to it. I don't want to spend a bunch of time on it because it just pisses me off, but you guys have to hear this about how he just contradicts himself from what he said the other day.
You anticipate that the strikes we're seeing this week against Iran will expand? Are you considering hitting energy targets or other locations inside of Iran?
I'll save the energy targets for last, but ultimately we'll hit energy targets, yeah. But we're going to hit them very hard tonight. We're going to hit them very hard tomorrow night. We're going to hit them very hard the night after. And then next week it gets really bad for them because next week comes the power plants. Next week comes the bridges. We're going to knock out all their power plants. We're going to knock out all their bridges unless they get to the table and negotiate.
Jason is right. That's his don't. Remember Biden when he got asked about Russia and Ukraine, when he gave Russia the free pass into Ukraine? He's like, don't. That's don't. I'm so sick of hearing about the strikes. Why are you waiting? What are you waiting for? Why aren't we hitting it all now? Why aren't we just taking the whole thing over? We control the Strait of Hormuz. I guarantee we could do it in a week. I have total control of everything. Ships may come, ships may go as we see fit. I'm so sick of hearing about this is coming next. They need to get back to the table. You just said you don't trust them. You just said you can't trust them. You just said the MOU was a waste of time. What difference does it make? What planet would it possibly be that you would want them to come back to the table? Why would you want that? It's exhausting. We're 5 months into this. You've accomplished nothing. You've made everything worse. Blow them up and take it over or get out and be done with it. I don't know about you guys. I'm sick of hearing about it. I'm sick of the next threat, the next thing. We're hitting them so hard. We're hitting them so hard. They don't even know what country they're in anymore. No, they're winning, sir. Every day they survive, they're beating you. They're outlasting you. And now you got the Democrats who are going to shut the government down potentially over this Iran war stuff. They're not going to do the defense bill over the Iran stuff. He screwed around with it for so long because he was petrified to do the thing that the Democrats now are getting involved, and they're going to break him because they're not going to approve the defense bill. And as we saw the last time the Democrats shut down, Taco, Trump always chickens out. Trump caves. The Republicans cave. The Democrats know it. He is screwed. And he did it to himself. He did it to himself because he didn't. Remember I told you guys I said, well, I guess I said this at the live show. I said, Rush Limbaugh said very early on, the media didn't make Trump. The media can't break Trump. The only person that could break Trump's bond with his core, his base, is Trump by not doing the things he promised to do. Trump's election, the first time and the second, but especially the first time, was about a bond with people. People hearing things they hadn't heard before, things they've been waiting years to hear. And as long as Trump stayed true to those things, it didn't matter what the media said about him because they didn't make him. He is breaking his bond by this nonsense he's gotten into with Iran. Complete and utter nonsense. And his support is cratering, including inside of his base. Okay, let's take a break. When we come back, the state of Indiana, the city of Indianapolis, they've given out big incentives to data centers, and you won't believe what the numbers are on the latest proposed one. Look, we're getting a lot of stuff on the data centers today because nobody else is willing to have the hard conversations about it. And it affects every one of us, and it affects our wallets, and nobody's doing anything. Plus, we have an update on that Senate race that came down to 3 votes. We're finally maybe going to get a resolution. Of course, the big thing there is, will the government allow people to be called in and deposed over who they voted for and why? That's a fascinating case. A lot of moving parts. We're starting to get some answers. We'll tell you about that and more when we come back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show. Do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use, in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All-American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All-American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606 or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and get $200 off a new installation.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance, so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
You fabulous people. It is the Rob Kendall Show. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for being with us. And again, you can really help us out if you like what we're doing. And you can remain anonymous when you do this. Hit that little thumbs up button. Really does help us out. And look, There's hundreds and hundreds of you watching this program right now. Get in that YouTube chat. Get involved with our fabulous regulars over there. That's a lot of fun. All you got to do is be a subscriber. And then at the end of the program, producer Jason reads the best YouTube comments of the day, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. It's your chance to be a star. Like, we don't have phone lines here. This is our version of we're opening the phone lines, except we're doing it on the YouTube chat. So join us, participate, be with us throughout the course of the day. If you're one of the thousands of people who listen to us on demand, on the Apple, on the Spotify, on the iHeart, all the places, God bless you as well. Thanks for being with us. Nobody brings you Indiana news, politics, and government like us. Let's see, March, April, May, June, July. We're almost 5 months into this thing's 100 shows coming up. And every day we grow and every day we expand, and we couldn't do it without you guys. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Do you guys have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence, cost-effective, easy-to-use, in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. You know, the big guys, they're more expensive. The big guys, they don't give you customer service. Call someone local to protect your furry friend. All-American Dog Fence. It used to be Indiana Dog Fence. Kelly and Jeff, the owners, they so believed in the product, they bought the business. They got 3 dogs themselves. All-American Dog Fence. 317-862-6606. 317-862-6606. They're huge fans of our show, huge supporters of our show. Find out what they do. Get an estimate. Get a free quote. Find out how it can make life with your furry friend easier. Oh, and by the way, when you call or text 317-862-6606, you're going to get $200 off. That's right, incredible, $200 off. If you just mention the Rob Kendall Show. Just say, hey, heard about you guys on the Rob Kendall Show? Bam, $200 off your product. 317-862-6606. Or you can learn more about what they do at allamericandogfence.com. allamericandogfence.com. Okay, update on the state Senate race that came down to 3 votes. Do you guys remember this? So there was that state Senate race where Turning Point USA and Trump went after a guy by the name of Spencer Deary. Spencer Deary was a first-term senator. It's the Lafayette area. I believe there's 6 counties in his district. Lafayette's the most prominent, Tippecanoe County, most prominent one. And they ran a woman by the name of Paula Copenhaver, who works for Micah Beckwith. She worked for Todd Rokita before that. And she lost by 3 votes. The final tally was 337 to 6,334. That means if 2 people had voted differently, she's in the lead. Now, of course, this has sparked a recount. And the Indiana Recount Commission, so a reminder of how that works. There are 3 members on that board. There's a Democrat, there's a Republican, and the Secretary of State. So Diego Morales could conceivably be the tiebreaker. Now, this is a Republican on Republican deal here. So I don't know how much partisanship is going to play into it. But anytime Diego's involved, your red flag should be raised, no matter what the deal is. And so Spencer Deary leads heading into this recount, this hearing on the recount, by 3 votes. The recount is set for Monday, July 28th. Now, probably the biggest issue out of this is in the order declaring we're going to have this public hearing on the recount, July 28th, is whether or not the Recount Commission is also going to agree to take up the request from Copenhaver to be able to question people under oath who she claims voted illegally. They want to depose people on allegations that they improperly voted in the May 5th Republican primary. By the way, our friends at Indiana Capitol Chronicle have a big article about this if you'd like to read the details of what I'm talking about here. They want to depose these people over being Democrats or self-identified progressives who voted in the Republican primary. Now, the law says that whatever primary you vote in, you're essentially pledging to vote for the majority of the people you vote for will be that party's nominees in the fall. This has never been challenged in court before. But most people believe if it was, it would fall flat on its face. You cannot require somebody 6 months from now to pledge to vote for a group of people. You can't do it. That's not how it works. The primaries are open primaries right now in this state. Now, rest assured, they're going to try to cut those things off next year. They're going to try to choke them off. Republicans want you to pay for their stuff. They just don't want you to be able to participate in the stuff you pay for. I mean, it's irrefutable. Republicans want you to pay for their stuff, the elections, because as they've proven at their convention for over a decade now, they can't run their own elections in a timely fashion. It takes forever to vote at these conventions. It takes forever to tally the votes at these conventions. And so they want you to pay for their stuff because they kept proving they can't do it on their own, but they don't want you to participate. So the Copenhagen team wants to put the select group of people, I don't know what the number is now, 10 or whatever, under oath and grill them on who they intend to vote for, I guess, in the fall. Whether they're actually Republican enough to participate in the Republican primary. Almost every legal person I've seen weigh in on this, regardless of, and most of these people aren't affiliated with any campaign, they said there's no way they're going to allow them to be deposed under oath. If they are, they're not going to answer, or they shouldn't. And there's no way a court would uphold this law if it got challenged. Nobody's ever had standing to challenge before because it hasn't gone this far where people are getting deposed under oath. You have to have standing. Nobody's vote's been challenged, so you don't have standing to challenge it. This is ridiculous. And this is another example of the Republicans setting the rules, people following the rules, then the Republicans being mad that people succeeded by the rules that they've set up. So what do you know? We got to change the rules and make it harder or whatever. It's exactly what you see with Ballard. It's exactly what you see with Ballard. They're mad now. They laughed at Ballard. You're not going to get the signatures. Now, blah, blah, blah. And then what do you see now? Now they're mad because he got the signatures, and you're hearing people that even want to make it even harder to get on the ballot. We saw this with Donald Rainwater several years ago, and he was very successful in his first run for governor. There was a move to change how the libertarians nominate their candidates. Why? Because the one libertarian had some success. This is the Republican Party MO. People abide by our rules. People succeed in the system we've set up, even though it's designed to keep them from succeeding. And then we get mad and we want to change the rules because the system we set up didn't stop the people we wanted to stop. So we'll see what happens. Evan Norris is the recount director. He said this in a release, quote, "The parties are well aware of the timing issues associated with the Senate District 23 matter and desire the recount commission to reach adjudication as soon as practically possible. Thus, the parties should use their best efforts to winnow down any disputed ballots that are no longer in dispute so that the parties and commission can move forward in the most effective way possible." You got to have a nominee. You got to have a candidate. We're getting short on time here. That's what he's saying. I mean, you can kind of tell from that press release, he thinks the thing is ridiculous. I mean, at least that's what I got out of it. He, of course, is not going to say that because he's supposed to be independent. He's supposed to be neutral. But it seems very clear there that he, as do most of the people in this state, think that's completely ridiculous, that you're going to put somebody under oath. You're going to put somebody under oath and force them to tell you who they voted for and why. If I were one of those people, I would get on the stand and I would say as slowly as possible and as clearly as possible, and I would look right at Paula Copenhagen, who I assume she'll be there when you say this, "Kiss my pasty white ass." I did that for effect. All right. Interesting article from the Star, because Indianapolis just yesterday moved forward, or 2 days ago now, just moved forward out of committee a bill that would put a moratorium on data centers. until the end of 2027. Conveniently, probably a huge coincidence that coincides with the mayor's race. Probably a coincidence, right? But on the heels of that, the Indy Star has been able to obtain a new report that shows how much in incentives the city of Indianapolis is offering this data center that they appear to be moving forward with. Now, my question is, because this is the Metro Blocks data center, we talked about this, the Martindale Brightwood neighborhood. There's a huge controversy about this data center, about the size of it, the scope of it. They've apparently agreed to pare it back. That doesn't seem to be good enough. Are they going to move forward with this while also saying that we're putting a moratorium on data centers? Is the Metro Blocks grandfathered in? That has not been made clear. And it appears to be in direct contrast with at least the goal, the mission espoused by the committee that moved the ban on data centers forward the other night, because here's what the Star wrote. Indianapolis economic development officials are recommending a tax incentive package worth up to $56 million in tax breaks for a developer, Metro Blocks, saying it would not be possible without the savings. So my question is, with the mayor being on board with the data center ban, how could the mayor's office, which it appears that his office, or an offshoot of his office, an economic development arm offshoot of his office, is supportive of this? How could he also be supportive of $56 million in incentives to a data center that he just came out and said, I support a ban on data centers? $56 million, guys. If the package is approved, Metro Blocks, a Los Angeles data center developer, would save the following. Listen to this. $13.5 million from a 10-year, 60% real property tax abatement. So when we talk about real property taxes, that's the building. $13.5 million in giveaways from the building. $42 million from a 15-year, 90% personal property tax abatement for equipment purchased to operate the data center. That's the stuff in the building. 90% abatement on the stuff in the building. Put them together, you get $55.5 million. Now we start to get into some of the specifics on why people stand up and say, I don't think so. Metro Blocks, according to the Star, plans to hire 35 workers at an hourly wage of $46 an hour. Now, look, $46 an hour is a great wage. It's almost what Jason makes working here. The problem is there's only 35 people. And that means the company would save, and this is where people get outraged about the data centers, the company will save roughly $1.6 million in taxes for each new job created. You're paying $1.6 million per job in the data center. That is unacceptable. In addition, any potential tenants in the data center campus could save a whopping $339 million combined under the agreement. The city claims by granting Metro Blocks these two tax abatements, the project, quote, would not be economically feasible without the tax abatement incentive. Now, the address on this development, 2505 North Sherman Drive. Jay, you ever been past the 2505 North Sherman Drive?
Had a police escort.
Nothing's going in there. Okay? It's been vacant forever. Ain't nothing going in there. And that's the argument of the city. The argument of the city is the abatements don't matter because it's something. The city is saying, even though no tenants have been named, they believe the agreement would spur $7.2 billion in economic investment. So there's two sides to this. What is the point if you abate everything and you're giving away the farm? According to the Star, Metro Blocks will pay about $9 million in new real property taxes over the first 10 years under the agreement, then about $2.2 million a year when the agreement expires. That's if they don't get an extension. Let's just say, let's not worry about after. Let's worry about the $9 million. So what the city's saying is, yes, a lot of abatements, but it's something that will at least be there in an area nobody wants to be, and it will pay $9 million. Right now, they're getting about $4,600 a year for the property taxes on the field. Now, the reality is, the way abatements work, and it's phased in over 10 years, the first 5 years sort of is negligible. So the first 5 years, you're basically getting nothing out of this deal with a 90% personal property tax abatement, 10-year real property tax abatement. Basically, first 5 years, you get nothing. Then you start getting some stuff. Quote, we've heard a lot about in the news whether it's going to be AI or big tech coming in, said Tyler Oakes, attorney for Metro Blocks. I want just to emphasize this is a small business, and it hopefully will be releasing out these spaces to tenants, anything from a hospital to a bank to a school. Okay, big problems here with this quote. First of all, if you're getting $55.5 million in abatements, that don't sound very small business to me. Jason and I have run multiple small businesses. We can tell you what a small business is. You're looking at one right now. Rob Kendall Enterprises right here, bring it to the Rob Kendall Show, is a small business. $55.5 million in abatements, not small business. The other part is people don't know what's going in there. And it's a major tenet of the opposition to data centers. There never seems to be transparency or confirmation about what is happening, what's going in, what they're doing, why it's necessary. And when people don't know what something's being used for or going to be used for, which it appears the data center doesn't know either, which is wild, they're going to be against it. What's going in there? Don't know. But you should be for it. It'll be great. No one would be for that. Data center developers, this is what the Star said. Data center developers see Indiana as a welcoming place to build technology campuses given generous state and municipal tax incentives, available cheap land, and steady fiber connection to transmit information. Bingo. The last two are what matter. Available cheap land, steady fiber connection to transmit information. We have what the data centers need. It's not what they want, it's what they need. They're already getting the incentive to come here with the purchase of the land. Why are we giving them anything? Why are they getting anything? Look, nobody cares about 10 years from now. People care about the immediate. And the immediate is there doesn't seem to be much payoff. Most people are going to go, I don't even know if I'm going to be here 5 years from now. Why would I care about what it looks like? What the potential economic dollars are. And by the way, damn, isn't it amazing how much you say it once you start making fun of it? There's no guarantee that the $9 million this data center pays is going to get injected back into that community. I bet if the mayor came out and said, I guarantee any property taxes paid will stay in this community, people might be more for it. There's a good chance it's going to go into a fund to fix a road on the other side of town. Yeah. I told a funny there. I told a little joke. People don't buy into things they don't understand. People don't buy into things that aren't easy to get their head around. People don't buy into things that potentially could harm them economically. They see the idea of power bills going up, not the idea, the reality. They see water and sewer bills going up. And they say, why would I pay more for some company where I don't know what they do to potentially benefit the community 10 years from now? Like, when you simplify it down to that, which really is the argument, it's often made in a much more emotional fashion, but that really is the argument, or at least one of the major ones. It is hard to answer, isn't it? It is hard to say, yeah, boy, those people, they're really out in left field. Screw them. Got to get better data center policy. And my question to the city is, why, if you're pondering a ban on data centers, if data centers are bad enough, you got to ban them, why are you not only approving this one, but allowing it to move forward with massive tax incentives? If they're telling you we can't do it without the tax incentives, then why are you giving the tax incentives? If you've just said data centers are, if not bad enough, uncertain enough, we've got to wait to understand them. Does that make any sense to anyone? On one hand, you're saying, yeah, we're so concerned about data centers, we got to pause them to make sure we know more before going forward. And then on the other hand, you're like, yeah, we'll approve this one, and here's millions of incentive dollars. Again, people look at that and go, that doesn't make any sense. Until there is concrete, easy to understand data center policy and data center safeguards at a state level, and everybody can work off of those, this is not going to get any better. Guys, it is Wednesday. That means you can be making your plans for dinner this week, Friday, Saturday, maybe a little brunch buffet on Sunday. Check out our friends at the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro, located on the water in beautiful Brazil. A little bit of a drive, totally worth the trip. Scenic, out in the country, great little wooded lot, beautiful lake sits behind the property. You can eat outside, get away, breathe, relax, and enjoy a great made-from-scratch meal. That's what they do at the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro. Of course, they've got the cottage as well. You can stay at, enjoy a weekend, make a weekend of it. Offers 3 bedrooms, 2 baths with spa-like tile showers, full kitchen, living room with a fireplace, laundry facilities, and a full deck overlooking the lake. The Honeysuckle Hill Bistro, it is an awesome opportunity to get away, relax. You're not that far from home. That's the great thing about taking the trip. You're out and about in it, peaceful, quiet, but close enough that when you need to get home, it's not that far of a drive back. Reserve your getaway at the cottage or your seat at the restaurant for a dinner or the brunch buffet on Sunday. 812-443-3003, 812-443-3003, or just look them up online, Honeysuckle Hill Bistro in Brazil. Okie dokie, we'll take a break. We got so much more to get to. Nobody does Indiana news, politics, and government like us. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Did you know Honeysuckle Hill in Brazil offers more than just a fabulous made-from-scratch meal at the bistro? It also has an adjoining cottage, great for a perfect, relaxing weekend away with a scenic waterfront view. The cottage offers 3 bedrooms, 2 baths with spa-like tile showers, full kitchen, living room with fireplace, laundry facilities, and a full deck overlooking the lake. And Andy, one of the owners, delivers breakfast in a picnic basket at 8:30 each morning. Plan the perfect weekend away at the scenic Honeysuckle Hill property on the water in beautiful Brazil. Book today by visiting their website at honeysucklehillb.com.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Welcome back. It is the Rob Kendall Show. Nobody does Indiana news, politics, and government like us. I remember when we started this show, it's like, can I sit here and talk for 2 hours straight? Sure I can. Every day? Maybe. And then we were like, we got to add a third hour. Can you sit here and talk for 3 hours straight? Sure I can. Maybe. And we do it. Nobody does Indiana news, politics, and government like us every single day. Hey, big story from the Hill. And this is kind of breaking news here, guys. I agree with something Jim Banks has done. Stop the presses. I'm going to say something about Indiana, nice about Indiana's junior senator, Jim Banks. Indiana Republican Senator Jim Banks, again, this is coming from the Hill, on Monday introduced a bill that would codify President Trump's Day 1 executive order reshaping the definition of birthright citizenship in the U.S. The Citizenship Act of 2026 requires that any person who enters the U.S., quote, without authorization or for the purpose of engaging in birth tourism is considered an invader. Good. Why would that not already be the law? You broke the law to come in here. You're not here to contribute to America. You're not here to do things the right way. You've entered the country illegally. You don't get any benefit. Like, why this would be already not the thing is interesting to me. Now, of course, you have an entire party that is built on mass, wholesale, illegal immigration, the Democrats, because they want what they believe will be a reliable generation of Democrat voters, dependent on Democrat services. The Republicans don't do anything to stop it because they like the labor for the big businesses. But the Democrats are wholly invested. But the concept of it is pretty simple, right? You're like, yeah, of course. Why wouldn't we already be doing this? We have rules. We have laws. We have ways you have to do things. If you don't get rewarded. It's not any different than having kids. When my 3-year-old is told not to do something, or if she has to do something, I don't reward her until she's done the thing or not done the thing. You know, she comes home and every day she gets a sucker. If she's good at daycare, she gets a sucker as a reward. She comes in the house, sucker. And then I tell her, you don't get another sucker or a popsicle. She loves popsicles too. Popsicle, sucker. You can't have another one of those until you eat your real food. You have to eat your real dinner before you get your popsicle. And sometimes she'll protest that. And I just tell her, go ahead and make my day. But she knows deep down, I might as well eat my mac and cheese and my chicken nuggets and whatever else. I might as well get it done if I really want a popsicle. Because I'm not getting the popsicle until I eat the food. Now, why would she ever eat the food if I just gave her the popsicle? And yeah, okay, at 3, the protest, sometimes it's a little stressful, right? But you just got to realize that I'm teaching her to follow rules. I'm teaching her that authority matters. I'm teaching her assimilation matters. And the assimilation is we eat our dinner before we get our dessert. It's the same thing with this. If you could just come in and do whatever you want to do, why would anybody follow the rules? Why would anybody ever do what they're told to do? Banks' office said in a statement that the bill would find that, quote, illegal immigration and birth tourism constitute an ongoing invasion and amends federal law to confirm that children born to illegal aliens and birth tourists are not entitled to automatic citizenship. Now, Banks hits on, or somebody for Banks hits on something that I said, remember when the ruling came down, I said the most interesting guy in the equation was Kavanaugh, because Kavanaugh ruled against Trump's executive order, but not based on the Constitution. He ruled against Trump's executive order based on it interfering with a federal law on the books. So everybody was like 6-3. It was really 5-3-1, because if the federal law got removed or changed, Kavanaugh would have voted with the minority, which then you get a whole new ball game, right? 5-4 is different than 6-3. And so I think what Banks is trying to do here is cater to Kavanaugh's ruling. Quote, the Supreme Court's birthright citizenship decision was an unprecedented assault on American sovereignty, and we must do whatever it takes to save our country, Banks said in the statement. I am leading the Citizenship Act to reverse the effects of this consequential ruling and ensure the millions of illegal aliens that invaded our country can't continue to exploit our immigration system. Yeah, perfect. Again, I'm loath to say anything nice about Jim Banks. I used to really like Banks, and then he got very politician-y. Banks was great until he lost the vote for House leadership. So Jim Banks was a member of the Indiana General Assembly. He ran for Congress when Marlin Stutzman ran for Senate in 2016. He won. He was pretty rock solid in the House, as rock solid as you can be. Nobody's ever going to be Rob Kendall. But by standards of what could be achieved, he did a pretty good job. And I used to interview him all the time. Back then I was the fill-in guy on IBC, and he'd come on and he was very cordial and used to shoot the bull with him, and great guy. Oh, he hates me now. Oh. I'd pay money to sit in a room with Banksy and Rokita talking about me, because I've heard some of the things that have been said. I wouldn't even be mad. I'd be like, that's awesome. Can I just listen for a few minutes? But then Banks ran for House leadership, which I supported him doing. I believe he was trying to become the majority whip, and he lost. And instead of doing the right thing, which is, hey, screw these dudes, I'm going to keep fighting for the people. I'm going to fight for things I believe in. He did what so many of these politicians do. He's like, I want to elevate. I'm not going to be Speaker of the House now. I'm not going to be in House leadership. Senate's opening up. I'll run for that. How do I do that? I have these people like me. Because Jim Banks saw what happened to Marlin Stutzman when he ran for Senate. And ever since then, it has been a different Jim Banks. The Jim Banks of today, and quite frankly, the just ass-kissing that he does to Donald Trump, is totally different than the guy that I used to know, used to interview, etc. I still have Banks' phone number. He used to text me every so often. I wonder if I text him if he still has the same phone number. I doubt it. The last text I got from Banks, I think, I may remember this properly, he got mad about something I said about his votes during COVID. And I think I did like something, I don't think this was my direct quote, but The Rock is The Rock. You say, don't sing it, just bring it. I don't think I heard back from him after that. I don't think I said that directly to him. But anyway, Jim Banks used to be a pretty rock solid conservative. It's very similar to Stutzman. Both of these guys, same district, Congress, rock solid. They get their asses handed to them, and then they just fold. But he's spot on with all of this. There's nothing in here where you would say this is out of bounds. It's common sense. He should be rewarded for that. Banks told Fox News that the bill was inspired by Brett Kavanaugh's concurring opinion, saying Trump's order man, I amaze myself sometimes how right I am about stuff. Saying Trump's order conflicted with the federal birthright citizenship law passed by the Congress in 1940. Again, that's really important, because if you get Kavanaugh, because this would get challenged, I'm sure, they haven't said this, but I'm sure their thinking is, if we could pass this, it'd get challenged, then we could get it back up in front of the court again. That's one box you would check. Now it's 5-4. Banks is the second Republican lawmaker seeking to codify Trump's executive order. Last week, John McGuire, a Republican from Virginia, representative, introduced the Birthright Citizenship Clarification Act to codify the order and strike down the right of the soil legal principle that grants citizenship to anyone born within a nation's territory. Okay, so that's what's going on with that. Good on Jim Banks. Good for him. See? In the past week, I've said something nice about Todd Young with that stock trading ban, and I've said something nice about Jim Banks with this. If you guys just act like normal people, if you just do stuff right by the folks, I am a praise machine over here. You just got to put the people ahead of the party. Okay. There's a new poll that is out that fascinates me. The website that's reporting on this, they didn't do the poll, but the website that did the poll is a website called futurism.com. And according to them, a new survey of 1,700 adults, 69% of U.S. employees support forcing AI companies to transfer 50% of their stock into a public wealth fund, which is basically the legislation put forward by Bernie Sanders last month. That's an incredible amount of people. So the conversation here is, and again, to go way back in the time machine when I worked with the chicks on the right, and I kept telling them this guy was onto something, and they thought he was kind of a goof, and I was like, he may be a little goofy, but his ideas are good. Andrew Yang. You guys remember Andrew Yang? He was this tech mogul who ran on the Democrat side for president in 2020 in the Democrat primary. And one of the things he was a champion of was the idea of universal basic income, which says because he didn't word it exactly like this, but he's basically saying because corporations are so incentivized to decline the workforce, to depress the workforce, to use technology to eliminate jobs, corporations should have a buy-in on the jobs that they create, and we create a minimum floor, a floor paid for by the corporations to every American. If your job is potentially going to be replaced by technology, then you should be able to get part of that back from the corporation that was incentivized to do it. And at the time, people were like, this universal basic income, it's kind of squirrely. I don't know. And I said, I think the guy's got an interesting conversation going on here. Because we have to have, a society is its middle class. One of the scary things about our economy now is how wealthy the tippy top keep getting and how much harder it's getting for middle income people to stay middle income. The wealthy people are going downstream, we're swimming upstream. And you have an ever shrinking middle class. It's getting harder and harder with inflation, et cetera, to stay in the middle class. And that is bad. That is not good for stability of a society. And so one of the ways with these tippy-top megacorps with record profits and the CEOs and the investors being better off than ever, much of it being done by eliminating workforce, enhancing technology, is to say you're going to have a buy-in in this. We're going to ensure the middle class stays solvent by your record profits on the backs of eliminating workers. You're going to have some skin in the game and ensure that the middle class stays thriving. Universal basic income. Bernie Sanders presented this in a bill last month. What was the name of it? It was the American AI Sovereign Wealth Fund Act. Now, Sanders' thing is not doable, as most Sanders stuff is. It's ridiculous. He's totally ineffective because 90% of the stuff he does is for show rather than result. Sanders' proposal would have forced, as the polling said, basically 50% of their stock, a one-time that the corporations, AI companies such as Anthropic, OpenAI, those types of people, would mandate that they submit to a one-time 50% tax on their stock. At current evaluations, Bernie Sanders says that would create a wealth fund of $7 trillion. Now, Sanders ain't talking about giving it back to the folks, though. That's the problem. Sanders is talking about it's going to government programs. Sanders isn't talking about, like Andrew Yang was, a universal basic income where, hey, here's your monthly check based on these technology companies paying into a fund. Sanders is talking about like the government doing everything. So it's way different than what Andrew Yang was talking about. Now, if you said $7 trillion and the money's going to go back to the people, then you got a different ballgame than $7 trillion is going to go back to the government. Either way, 50% is not feasible. But the conversation itself is a worthwhile one. What obligation do corporations who continue to enhance their profits by eliminating the American workforce and thus diluting the middle class that all societies throughout history have depended on to thrive, what obligation do they have, if any, to ensure the middle class remains strong? If you can't find a job because of their technology, which we as a government, we as a society have supported through various means and mechanisms and incentives, what obligation do they have to give back? Here's what's interesting about the poll, because Sanders is a lightning rod, right? When you mention the name Bernie Sanders, because he's so politically polarizing, people might, if they don't like him, tune out, or if they hear his name, they might be for it. 69% of U.S. employees supported forcing these AI companies to transfer 50% of their stock into a public wealth fund. But what's interesting is, even when the policy was explicitly tied to Sanders, so they tell you this is Bernie Sanders' idea, 64% of the respondents still supported the idea, which means you have bipartisan support on this idea. You have a lot of Republicans saying this is a good idea and a lot of independents, even with Bernie Sanders' name being identified. It's a really important conversation. It's one that's not going to go away. As technology continues to increase, workers are going to be less and less needed. And it's the government, so they'll just do like they do with Social Security. They'll just put their head in the sand and act like it's not happening. And then one day they'll wake up and go, oh, crisis, there's no more workers, and everyone's hungry. We should do something. Hey, guys, Bramwell Mackay, they've been with us from the beginning. Huge supporters of our show. Wouldn't be here today without them. Guys got a masonry color mismatch, previous repair catching your eye, not happy with the brick color in your home, and ready for a total makeover? Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants offer specialized masonry staining and recoloring. Whether you want to seamlessly blend repairs or completely transform your home's exterior, you want to try something new? Bramwell Mackay, they're your guys. Bramwell Mackay's 40-year master masons design and construct custom patios, sidewalks, outdoor summer kitchens, archways, entryways, and more. I know many of you have had Bramwell Mackay out to your home. They do awesome work, and they're awesome supporters of the Rob Kendall Show. Bramwell Mackay, BRAMWELLMCKAY, Bramwell Mackay, beauty built to endure, BramwellMackay.com. Okay. Hey, it's 11 o'clock. It's the third hour. Third hour brought to you by John Rust, enabling us to bring you a third hour of great local content you're not going to get anywhere else. When we come back, a sad story from Mooresville, an icon, an institution. It's already gone away, but what it's getting replaced with kind of got people rubbed the wrong way. It's part of that conversation we've had about the death of our communities, the end of institutions, the end of history, the end of things that made us unique. We will head to Mooresville to give you all the gruesome details when we come back. Plus, in a little bit, Jason will have the best YouTube comments of the day, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. Don't go anywhere. You're watching The Rob Kendall Show.
Is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salt, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. Got a worn-out fence or deck? They can revive the look while providing long-term protection. Call today, 317-548-2002, or visit sealnow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but mention you heard about Seal Now on The Rob Kendall Show and receive 20% off any long-term sealing project.
Is the inside of your house a total mess, like a complete dumpster fire? Call AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning. When you walk into your house after using AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning, you will see and smell the difference. They take great pride in their workers and treat your home like their own. All cleaners pass through a background check and drug screening. Call today and mention you heard about AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning on The Rob Kendall Show, and you will get an incredible $50 off your first clean. AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning serves all of Central Indiana. Book your appointment today by calling 317-530-8148. 317-530-8148.
If authentic wood-smoked barbecue is your thing, Double D's Barbecue in Clayton is the place for you. Owners Dennis and Tina Duncan, along with their son Garrett, are from Memphis. So when it comes to barbecue, they're not screwing around. No pellet smokers, no roasters, just authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. All of Double D's food is cooked fresh daily, and it's all made from scratch. Double D's Barbecue, located at 40 and 39 in Clayton, is open all day, Wednesday through Saturday, but get there early because once they're sold out, they're done. Check out the full menu, ribs, brisket, and more at ddbbq317.com.
Hey guys, welcome back. It is the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're having a great Wednesday. Tomorrow, big show coming up. Doug Carter is going to be with us, former state police superintendent. We're going to talk about that documentary that came out on Jamie Knoll, disgraced former Clark County sheriff, because Carter was state police superintendent when that investigation went down. And I want to get his thoughts because obviously he left shortly after we got, well, something that resembled conclusion with that, or moving towards justice. Does he think there was more justice left to do? Should there be more investigations? Should more people be held to account? We're also going to talk about the latest with Tom Kleinhelter, the disgraced sheriff of Du Bois County. Still the sheriff, but facing those charges in Marion County. Obviously, action coming related to his law enforcement credentials. And so we'll get with Doug Carter on all of that coming up here tomorrow on tomorrow's program, right here on the Rob Kendall Show. Indiana news, politics, and government you can't get anywhere else. We're in hour 3. That's brought to you by our great friend, John Rust, which a reminder, if you haven't done so yet, come join us, come hang out with us October the 3rd. John Rust having a party at his house to celebrate America's 250th birthday, the palatial Rust Estate. It's going to be patriotic music, an antique car show, lunch catered by Double D's. I'm going to give a little speech on how great the country is, and a whole bunch more. Come hang out with us. Free meal, free cake, Jason's birthday. rustforamerica@gmail.com. That's where you RSVP. No cost to attend. Free lunch, free cake. Can't beat that, right? Plus the car show, the music, me, and a whole bunch more. rustforamerica@gmail.com. rustforamerica@gmail.com. Get the RSVP. Let him know your name, how many other people you got coming with you. Been great attendance so far. Great RSVPs. John's thrilled. Let's keep it going. Come hang out with us. Come have some fun on October the 3rd. All right, so sad story coming our way. A variety of news outlets have covered this. I believe this one came from WTHR. And one of the conversations that Matt Gentry and I got into it yesterday, been having this conversation with you guys for years now. I'm not against growth. I'm against growth that removes history. Because history teaches us who we were and who we want to be. It gives you a little bit of idea who you want to be. If you don't understand history, you're doomed to repeat it. And on the other side of it, history teaches us the best of ourselves. It ties us to the past. And when growth interferes or changes in society interfere with important cornerstones of history of communities, that's not good. Because once they're gone, they ain't coming back. And almost always, not every time, but almost always, whatever takes their place, it's not going to be the same. And it's not going to have that tie, that emotional connection, the thread that'll span generations. And there's an article out, I believe it was WTHR, that has an update on Gray Brothers Cafeteria in Mooresville. Now, remember, Gray Brothers, if you never been, it's an institution. It was originally a restaurant in the 1940s, and then it moved. Yeah, this cafeteria first opened in 1944, known as Gray's Restaurant. And in the 1960s, it moved to its location on Indiana Street in Mooresville. I would guess many of you hearing my voice right now, whether you're listening on the podcast on demand, watch this live on YouTube on demand on YouTube, you've been to Gray Brothers. It's great. It was great. My grandparents used to meet them there quite a bit. I know many of you probably did the same. Or if you are grandparents, you met your grandkids there, whatever. Great food, but it was about so much more than food. It was an institution. And last year, Gray Brothers said we can't make it work anymore. The inflation, cost of ingredients, big changes to the restaurant industry. It became too hard to keep the doors open. And it's one of the things when you look at inflation, the restaurant industry is hit extremely hard. People can't afford the food anymore. And obviously the restaurant can't take a loss. And so these sort of mid-level dining experiences, which I'd put a cafeteria in there, have been crushed. My wife and I were talking about this the other day, about how expensive even fast food is now. You look at the price of fast food, in many cases, it's where the mid-tier sit-down dining experiences were not that long ago. And so government, through its own actions, the shutdowns, the printing the money, et cetera, it has crushed the restaurant industry. Tippy Top's still doing all right because people will pay it. Fast food's there because people got to eat. Middle, not great. The other night, this is how cheap I am. I was thinking, like, I want to eat something different. So I'll get online at Applebee's and I'll order some food from Applebee's. I had not seen the prices of Applebee's in quite a while. Holy smokes. Like, I'm talking like the 8-ounce sirloin. Jason says it tastes bad now. Like, I'm not trying to indict Applebee's, but I used to eat at Applebee's all the time. I was like, holy smokes. No, it's 2 for $25 now, and the steaks aren't a part of it. Yeah, it used to be 2 for $20, where you get the 2 meals and the appetizer, and you get the 6-ounce sirloin or whatever. And is it St. Elmo? No, of course not. Is it Arian Izzy's? No, but you don't anticipate it. It was, you used to be able to go in, get you 2 meals, including an appetizer for $20. All right, great. And it was that way forever. And then it became 2 for $25. And now a bunch of stuff doesn't even exist on the 2 for $25. It was like, holy smokes. Arby's it is, baby, with the coupon. But Gray Brothers was a sad casualty of COVID and the response to COVID and the way they've killed the restaurant industry in this country. And so the other night, so what happened then, and by the way, I actually went with our former landlord, Chris Spangle, because Chris, like me, were the same age, grew up going there. And we thought, well, before this thing closes, wouldn't it be fun if we went with our families to the Gray Brothers? And so we went together, Chris and his wife and his daughter and son, and my wife and my daughter and I. We went to the Gray Brothers right before it closed. And there were so many people there. So many people were doing it. Like, the line was forever. It's like, nostalgia's great. It's not this great. But, they said at the time, they said, please know this has not been an easy decision. We are so grateful for the support of our customers and their loyalty throughout the past 80 years. And what they found was the land was more valuable than the restaurant. Pretty good location, high traffic area for Mooresville, growing community. Land's more valuable than the restaurant. And so in May of this year, they sold off pretty much all the remaining items because at the time they had talked about, well, maybe we can make it work in a smaller location, and they decided, no, we can't. They sold off basically all the items, including cooking appliances, tables, chairs, decorations, and more. And so last Thursday, July the 9th, the Mooresville Planning Commission were presented with a project to turn that Gray Brothers cafeteria site, an icon that hundreds of thousands of families have enjoyed comfort and cheer and socializing over the years, into a Wawa convenience store. Your dinners, your camaraderie, your good times, it's going to be a gas station. Take a photo, folks. It will include, so if you know, Wawa is like, it's not a Buc-ee's, but it's nicer than a Speedway. And usually they have cheaper gas. That's the new craze, right? Everybody wants a Wawa in their community. We have 2 of them in Brownsburg. Well, we have 1. I think they're building another. The Wawa would have 16 fuel pumps available, as well as a drive-through window and 44 parking spots. And the Mooresville Planning Commission moved to approve the plan. And look, nothing wrong with the Wawa, right? They see an opportunity to make money, they're going to do it. It's the American way. But it just sucks that something that meant so much to so many people was undone by the government. It was undone by policies of the government. The restaurant industry was fine until the government shut society down. And then everything got super expensive. Restaurants couldn't open. If they did, it was drive-through, takeout. And then when they came back to full service, everything was infinitely more expensive than it was before. All the fault of the government. All the fault of the government. All needless. Yeah, there were people during COVID, and it got identified pretty early on, that should have been protected, that should have been taken care of. The elderly, the people with the certain comorbidities. Yeah, you guys sit this one out. Enjoy a few months off. But the rest of society, 90% of society, should have been working. I mean, I remember very vividly reading those data charts from the state every single day. And I remember fighting with the chicks about this because they were like, it's just 15 days. I was like, it will not be 15 days. I remember having, you guys probably remember this, the arguments we were having on the air. I was like, they shouldn't give 1 second to shutting things down. Remember, what was it, 15 days to flatten the curb? Remember that? And I remember telling them, I was like, this is ludicrous. Like, I'm reading these data. Remember the state had the website where they'd update the numbers every day? And I'm looking at this every day. I'm like, I already know who's at risk of COVID. I could tell a week in and it didn't change. Like, it's obvious who's at risk for this thing. And let's protect those people. No need for somebody like me, an able-bodied adult in his 30s, to not be going to work every day. That's stupid. I got COVID, I think, multiple times. And yeah, it messed you up. And I think there are still ramifications from COVID. I don't think it's a thing that'll stay with a lot of people the rest of their lives. I think it affected different people differently. But I didn't get COVID or not get COVID because I went to work. I worked around 4 people. The building was empty. I got COVID multiple times. I never tested positive for COVID, though, even though they made me take the test, because I think every time I got the COVID, I was on a break. I just know from the symptoms of what people were saying that I'm sure I had COVID. I mean, and like I said, like a lot of other people, things are different now, but that's okay. Like, I lived through it. And it wasn't going to not get COVID or get COVID based on whether I went to work or not. And yet we saw lasting ramifications that here we are 6 years later, and you're still seeing the ramifications play out of bad policy decisions by the government. Needless choices made by the government. The bribing of states to shut down, the printing of money, the lowering of interest rates, the inflating of property values, the shutting down of ports, the shutting down of being able to get goods in and out of our country, which made everything more expensive. And we see institutions like Gray Brothers who close because of it, and it's just an ever reoccurring reminder. It's an ever reoccurring reminder of all that got taken from us during COVID and how our society will never be put back together the way it was before. Like the genie just got out of the bottle, and it'll never be put to get back together the way it was before. And that's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. And governments have changed, and it's just everything is different. Something that is the same every day, at least since we started this show, is producer Jason. Joins us at the end of every program where he reads the best YouTube comments of the day, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. All you have to do to be able to participate is be a subscriber to our channel. And we use this as a great mechanism for me to respond. You guys comment on things we talk about during the show each day. And then it spurs new conversation. It makes me think of things in a new way. You challenge me.
It's all about Rob.
And there's Jason.
Yes, I am.
Hello.
How we doing? All right. All right. Black Sheep Plumbing, the big sponsor of the chat.
That's right.
As they are every day. We do appreciate it, John. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. Black Sheep Plumbing. Black Sheep Plumbing can do the job right at a fraction of the cost of the big guys. Owner John McKinney is a Hoosier lifer, takes great pride, and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Give John a call or text 765-315-7558, 765-315-7558. Black Sheep Plumbing.
You ever test positive for COVID?
I did.
Oh, you did?
One time. And
was it a home
I think
test?
I still have it. I don't think it ever went away, technically.
Well, that's the thing.
I think the older the people are, the less it, or the more they can still, I never feel like I've gotten over it.
Yeah.
And,
well, okay, so
I think that's a real thing.
Like, did you test at home? Was it a home
No,
test?
I went to the doctor.
Okay.
And we all got it in the house, so we all went to the doctor. And okay, there's nothing we can do for you because you're already past the whatever it was, the 5-day or 7-day thing because we waited. And so just go home, and the rest of your life you'll feel it.
Well,
we do.
I know I've told this story before. I don't know if I've told it on the podcast, but Emmis owned IBC at the time.
Yeah, I got it from IBC. Because
really?
There was I don't say his name, but a particular host that is never there usually, but he was there enough when he never shows up for work. He's got 1 million vacation days. Great guy though, but he did show up when he had COVID. Didn't want to take off when he had COVID, and it passed through the building that month.
And so Emmis instituted the jab policy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm not getting that jab.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, well, then you could be donezo. And I said, well, we'll all part. I'm not going to say we're going to part friends if that's how we part, but we'll all part. I'm not getting that jab.
It wasn't Tony Katz, by the way. A few people not throwing him under the bus.
The
Tony was never in the building. So Tony. Yeah.
That's why he stopped coming in.
Yes.
So they said, so I had to go meet with them about an exemption. And so they granted me the exemption. And there were like 4 of us in the building who they gave the exemption to.
Oh, you had a religious exemption. Yeah, religious Rob.
And then
your buddy really came through for you on that one, didn't he?
Well, that's when he wanted something.
Yeah.
Until he stopped wanting something or needing something. He was a hell of a friend.
Right.
Who could have seen that one coming? Anyway, so then they basically tried to shame the people who didn't get the jab, and I think in IBC, I might
kill everybody in the building.
I may have been the only person at IBC who did, because obviously there are all those floors and all those stations, and they were like, "You're going to have to wear a mask everywhere you go." Okay, and you're going to have to come up here and test every once a week. Okay, and what was the other thing? If we get reported without a mask, this can be revoked. Okay, so. They obviously hadn't figured out that trying to shame me wasn't going to work. And then I asked the question. So you go up every Monday morning and you do the test. And I asked the HR lady because she didn't want any part of it. She was like, this is stupid. But she had to do it. They never watched me take the test. She never looked at the results of the test. I would always just tell her, negative. Okay, thanks. Have a nice day. And I'd just throw it in the trash. It's like, what if I lied? She clearly doesn't care. But I asked the question and she just stared at me one day. I'm like, you do realize that I have to go do a radio show, because this was after Mock and I had started the show together.
Right.
I was like, I have to go do a radio show here in 10 minutes. If I test positive, I have to leave the building. What does she do? And
She's the star of the show.
She just stared at me. And I think that's why she never looked at the test.
All right.
So anyway, that's my my never tested positive for COVID story.
Yeah, but you still got it. All right. Rusted Bolt Garage starts us off this morning. I'm not sure who was in last night. Sorry, guys. But Rusted Bolt Garage, I believe, this morning. Morning, all. Happy hump day. Going to be another sun is trying to kill us day.
Oh, yeah, it's very hot outside.
Yes. Doing its best. The old man 68. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Make sure to wear your asbestos underwear or undies today so you don't burst into flames. Apparently, asbestos, if you coat yourself in asbestos, you won't burst into flames.
That's right.
Wouldn't suggest doing that, though. Kevin Branham, Rob, if you're not in good standing with the Republicans because you signed the Ballard petition, I'm not in good standing as well.
So they started in on that because there was a big report out. I think it was Abdul put it out. That was like, they're coming after people who signed the petition. And then one of the people, I think it was State Rep Peggy Mayfield, put out and was like, no, there's a rumor or got looked at or whatever, but they're not challenging people to sign the petition. It's just like, why are we even having this conversation? I'm not saying I'm voting for the guy, nor is anyone else who's signing it. It's just I support you being able to run. The Republicans are admitting we don't support people running for public office. That's what they're admitting.
All right. There is a MLM Warriors. There is a YouTube channel, Republicans in Bad Standing. They're from Evansville, Indiana. There we go. Somebody already stole the moniker. Carol, 1776. Good morning.
Oh, I bet that's that guy. What's his name? Ken Colbert. The guy. I bet that. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll have to see who that is.
Carol, 1776. Good morning, all. Glad Ballard made the ballot. Nothing like a fly in the ointment. Banks is probably crying the blues. I doubt that.
Yeah,
Banks crying about that.
Look, they probably
they just go out and grab some more money.
Yeah, they knew. The people who knew. Like, there's some, we read some of these idiots who posted stupid stuff, but like the tippy top people I didn't know, Greg Bauer's not going to get into some endeavor without knowing he was going to succeed. But it is interesting that he probably spent, I mean, it shows how hard this is to pull off, and that should be the story. He probably spent $250,000. And he barely made it. I mean, he made it with enough that they're not going to be able to kick him off. But he only got 12% over the number.
Right.
And he had all those volunteers and all those paid.
You wonder how many people sabotaged those by how many people were sent out undercover. Yeah, we'll sign that petition. Hey, he's going to be at Purdue, and they sent probably 100 people in there. I'm not saying who they are, but go there and sign that so it'll look bad. Don't use your name. All right, Steve Green with an E. Good morning, all. Me and the missus watched Tarnish the Badge last night. Superb. My only beef is with the judge. Tarnish the Badge, that's the Jamie Knowles story. It's on, of all places, kind of strange, it's on YouTube. Looks like a Netflix documentary. Looks very well done, but it's on YouTube, so you have to go to YouTube to find that. He said the judge, when the judge said he reluctantly accepted the plea, he screamed, "You're the freaking judge, refuse it." Well, what does he have to pay back, like $3 million?
Yeah, it was sizable.
And 12 years, right? 13 years, something like that, which I'm surprised he got that long. So if you'd have went to a jury, A, it would have cost several $1 million to string this thing out. And B, look at all the people that supported Knoll, even when he was convicted. So there would have been somebody on that jury, not even paid off, just somebody who would have said, nah, I just don't believe it. He's a great guy. Even if he did it, he deserved it, and they would not have convicted him. So
it only takes one person.
It only takes one person. So I think that's where why the judge said he reluctantly accepted.
Now
although I'm no judge.
I will say that judge going to the auto auction was bad. That was bad.
Certainly goofy guy. Let's just say that.
Yeah, he liked the attention.
Yeah, and come across
because I remember when he
goofy.
got the 60-day sentence. Because he had the firearms. I think we had Bostock on right after that happened on the radio show. And it was like, oh, that guy, he likes the attention. That's why he sentenced him to the 60 days.
Well, you could tell even when he made a speech or he said something, and it was just so contrived and so prepared, and he acted like he was just so, I mean, the judge I'm talking about is like, dude, you're a goof. All right, anyway. MLM Warriors, the gavel at the car auction was over the top.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about.
You know what's crazy, too? I was telling my old man about this the other day. we were one of the few people like intensely covering that in real time. Like the people down there were covering it.
Why are you covering that?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, like I remember that we were like, because I was saying, why are people up here? Now the media down there was covering it, the Louisville media, and they were covering it. Right. But we were one of the few people who was covering it up here, and I was like, this is such a massive story. And now it's cool to see it like play out, and people are, hundreds of thousands of people have viewed that documentary. And it's like, I feel vindicated that I was like, this is a massive story. This is way bigger than this guy being some local corrupt sheriff.
Well, unfortunately, it did not spark a fury of investigating other sheriffs. You thought maybe at the time, okay, we need to start pulling up these rocks or lifting these rocks, look at what's underneath them. And they just, okay, well, he's guilty. He's in jail. See, this justice system works. But there are no other sheriffs that would be that corrupt.
We're going to ask Doug Carter about that. He's going to be with us tomorrow.
Yeah, he was a big part of that. So, yeah, we'll ask him as well. MLM Warriors National Hot Dog Day. Going to give your daughter a hot dog today?
I saw that it's
Celebrate.
National Hot Dog Day.
Steve Green with an E. I might offend, and if so, I apologize in advance. I was over the World Cup. It's just kind of random here. I was over the World Cup before it started and glad it's ending. Soccer is for girls and boys 10 and under, tired of the constant coverage. I don't disagree one bit with that. Honestly, I watched the last match that the USA lost, embarrassingly lost. I was like, this is the most boring thing. I tried. Or do they just suck, or is this the way that soccer players play? And I found out later they just sucked. Well, they didn't suck, but they sucked in that game.
I mean, they made it to the round of 16. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, they're good, obviously.
They played
Steve know nothing about soccer, obviously.
They played horrible in that game.
Steve and I.
I think the World Cup is one of those things where it's so much bigger than the event or the soccer on the field. It's the events, it's the stadiums, it's the world is coming to your country, it's the people in the stands. Like it's all of that. The soccer is almost, it's very similar to, I'm a golf guy, right? British Open starts tomorrow. The Ryder Cup has become that. It's the USA versus Europe. It's every 2 years.
We taking tomorrow off?
No, I'll be here. Okay. I'll be up at 1. By the way, y'all, the Ryder Cup, British Open coverage starts at 1:30 in the morning tomorrow. I will be up, so I'll text you. I'll make sure you're still up.
My phone's on mute.
And you guys know that's every year. I'll be up. So if you guys are up on the Peacock, you can watch the British Open. But anyway, Ryder Cup is like that too, where the event itself becomes so much bigger than the actual sport, and I think the World Cup is that way.
All right, Real Cowboy Chris, good morning from Bluffton. It's going to be another hot one. Stay hydrated. All Might is here. Go Ballard.
Oh, that's a new one.
That's a new one.
Yeah, welcome.
Kevin Branham. I signed the petition, so I'm in bad standing now as well. All right. LD Stoltz should have. Okay, now this is talking about Ballard with his signatures.
Yes.
Rob wanted the Brinks truck, and I remember you telling Ballard that you need to back a Brinks truck up, and I could tell right away he was not backing a Brinks truck up. LD
he should have done it himself as the driver.
That's a little too whatever. Too showy for him, I think.
Yeah.
LD Stoltz. Should have come into the Statehouse as the trash man from It's Always Sunny. Is that Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Yes.
Is that what that is?
Yes.
I'm here to take the trash out, is the quote. I never watched that show.
You never seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I've seen it. I just couldn't get into it.
Yeah, it's like a low-rent Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Abdul and I talked about this. This was years ago, when we were filling in for the Chicks, I think, one day.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about smaller candidates getting noticed.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to have, especially in a post-Trump world, a little bit of what we called the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, you got to have a little bit of
showmanship.
Yeah, you know, P.T. Barnum
Carnival
circus.
Barker,
You can't come off as a sleaze bag,
mm-hmm.
but you got to have a little bit of look at me and give people a reason to look at me.
Days before the microphones, they had to sit up there and yell.
Yeah.
And that's they don't do that now.
I mean, everything
like low enthusiasm or whatever. I'm not sure what
it's like.
Low energy.
You got to. He was in the news. He got the news. He didn't dominate the news, and that should have dominated the news.
What'll dominate is there's 30,000 signatures that are not valid.
Yeah,
we went from 10 to 30,000.
Look, he's an older guy. He's a distinguished guy. That's part of his. Spiel's like, I'm going to be the adult in the room here, but you got to bring a little circus with the circus with it if you're going to
You got two high-energy guys that are going to be following you up there. Bucko 707, Ballard could have staged it like Miracle on 34th Street when the post office wheeled in all the letters to Santa in the courtroom. I remember that scene. Almond Joy Tempo, long in the tooth makes me giggle every time I hear it. Is that something you said, or was on a quote?
Well, must be.
Probably was. In the tooth. Okay, well, she it makes her giggle. C. Mills, good morning, all. I'm here, still listening. Just can't comment as much now. Work's been crazy.
So, okay, C. Mills had the utility company come onto his property yesterday, and they just dug up his property.
Well, they do that. You have to allow them to do that.
But I didn't know if they had to get
No, it's not the farmland where they got to give you 5 days notice and all that.
That's what I was telling him. I said I don't know if they got to.
We in our community we had we had MetroNet coming through. We had the new AT&T coming through, and MetroNet just dug up a lot of the yard, and I had to call because they were not cleaning it up. So a lot of people had to call and complain and everything. It was great rates for a while, and then we had a tornado down in Whiteland, and it took MetroNet out for a week or so. So I had to call Verizon, sorry. Sorry, MetroNet. And I think MetroNet's now sold out to somebody or whatever. But,
they always do that. Those little guys, they sell out.
Yeah, but point being, they tore up the yard, and a lot of people in the neighborhood would not get MetroNet because they were pissed off that they tore up the yards. And then they always use the worst grass seed they can use.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They don't use good grass seed, so it either doesn't take or all that kind of stuff. But, they can. You can't. That's why they come by, stick little flags on the yard when they're going to do stuff. Nothing you can do about it. Charles Ludi, I'll take a long-in-the-tooth candidate over a young buck who's running on his daddy's coattails. Steve Green with an E, Ballard soundbite, is this dude alive?
Well, that's the thing, right? That was the thing about the speech was 9 minutes. I watched it. It was fine. I thought he hit on the good points. But again, I heard it said one time. I won't tell you he said this.
Well, fill us in.
No, I won't tell you he said. I'll tell you what he said. But he was talking about campaigning. And he said, when you go to doors, when you knock on a door, knock on it aggressively. Don't be aggressive at the door, but knock on the door aggressively. Wake the grannies up was what he said.
Ooh,
go out there,
me off when you do that.
Wake the grannies up. But I think that's true for all facets of camp. That
you
speech.
get me looking out the window with a scowl on my face, go away.
Well, my theory on that is the doors, you got to just put the thing in the door and move on.
Yeah, put it in the door and exactly. If I want to read it, but I never answer.
But my point is, I'm not. He's talking about doors, but I'm saying right there, right. Great example. Good speech. The content of it was fine, but you're not getting anybody out of that speech because of the delivery to be look at me.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Josh Richardson also agreed, he said. He needs some fire behind his speeches. Debbie Holcomb. Ballard was a bit dry giving that statement. No emotion, with a frown face.
Okay, but I think people seem to forget when he was mayor, he wasn't like Mr. Excitement there either. And he's 20 years older. So, I mean, you're not, if that's what you, but
he was running against Bart Peterson.
Who also was not Mr. Excitement.
Exactly.
He's got to find some level of punch. And this is, I think I said this a week ago. My concern for Ballard is the guy's 71 years old. It doesn't make you a dinosaur, but it also means, hey, can you do 5 events a day? We've
seen, Sleepy Joe Biden and all that, and now people talk about Trump getting a little aged there and maybe, losing his faculties or whatever. I think people are getting a little, we all get old, right? We're all going to get older. So, that's it. But I think right now people are kind of like, well, you got this young guy here, but then again, young guy has no experience. So, what do you do? All right, Steve Green with an E. Steve's all over today. I wonder if he's going to be in the top fans. I watched on my phone. Okay, we get 60% of the people. Just the number never changes. It will now. The number never changes almost, where we get about 60 to 61% of YouTubers watching on their phones.
Oh.
Now, we don't have all the statistics from the we actually get more listeners via the podcasting and everything. We don't have those stats. But on YouTube, which is what we kind of look at, 60% of the people on their phone, which means they're not getting the full value here of our sets that we put in.
Right.
But Steve Green, I watched on my phone, but my squeeze, that would be Mrs. Green with an E.
Yes, that's right.
Just put it on the big screen. It's totally different experience.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, watching Rob Big is totally different than watching on the phone. And nice to be Green with an E. That would be Mrs. Green with an E. Pipes in. I'm sneaky like that. Morning, all. So she switched him over to the phone. Robert Schwartz, he says to Steve, that's how I've always done it. Follow the show on TV and then use the phone to chat because you can't chat on the TV.
Oh,
so you have
yeah.
your phone so you can be in the chat, but you watch it on the big screen. There we go. We like that. Charles Ludi, I won't be bringing much smoke today, unfortunately. Too much on my plate. I had to go, but I had to pop in. Bring some, sir.
Very good. I hope I brought it.
You brought it today.
Very good.
Yep. Golf Tango X-Ray. I can't watch the show today, but I did come on here to hit the like button. If you haven't done that, why not? Out. Well, we appreciate the like.
Thank you.
Yep. You can always go back and listen later. Okay, here we go. The 0601 board. If Lincoln becomes anti-Trump, then it will be short-lived. If the Lincoln Party.
Oh, yeah. I think if you're trying to make sense of any of that right now, you're going about it wrong.
Yeah, because I'm not sure the whole Trump thing. I think the people can be swayed right now.
Well, and this has to be because he's going to have to coalition this. He's going to have to just tell people this is about you.
Mm-hmm.
Your ability to participate, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, you lean Democrat, you lean Republican, you independent, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's about creating an environment by which you can participate.
Are people really that thirsty for a third party that aren't wonks, that aren't political wonks?
We're going to find out.
I mean, it's like, well, vote for the R and, vote for the D. Nobody votes for the L.
He wins if he gets 10%. That's the reality of it. He's the winner.
A personal victory.
No, I'm saying if the goal is to affect change, the biggest change.
Well, he's not going to be Secretary of State with 10%.
No, but he gets the third party with the primary ballot access.
Gotcha. So then it opens the door for you to run at a later date. Thanks, Mr. Ballard.
Don't start that.
All right.
Nobody's giving me that $10 million.
The 06010 board. I want a party with principles and Double D's barbecue.
Who was that?
06010 board.
Yeah.
Courtney Hill. Rob needs some little LED lights like the little fairy lights around his sign. Yeah, we could put some little LED light. It is a little dark there. We could put some of those. I didn't want to really mess with the handy artwork there or the handiwork of Andy.
Yeah.
Because he did a fabulous job. Okay. Baby Fishmouth. A party with principles would almost certainly be anti-Trump. Debbie Holcomb. Party at the Rust household is going to be lit. Capital L-I-T. Can't wait to see you all there.
Get your reservation in rustforamerica@gmail.com.
He's really excited about it.
Oh, he's pumped.
Yes,
we hear from him like every day on what the count is.
Yeah,
on how
he's
many people
excited about the RSVP. So excite Rust today. Give John something to be excited about.
It makes us look good if a bunch of you people show up, by the way, which you are. A lot of people are RSVPing.
I think he's just happy to have a party.
Well, if we could get 400 people, can you imagine?
It's not just us. He's probably inviting other people.
No, I know, but I'm saying if we can get him 400 RSVPs.
I mean, there's a lot of people that want to go celebrate my birthday.
Totally.
On October 3rd. So.
Did he say what sort of cake you're getting?
No, he never asked me what I like either, but I'm not really picky as long as it's not carrot cake.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, don't give me a carrot cake.
So you're not one of those people that's like whether it's chocolate or vanilla?
No, whatever. I mean, I eat a little piece of it and leave it for the other folks.
Yeah.
All right. Where are we at here? We're at Debbie Holcomb, who thinks the party's going to be lit, and Josh Richardson at John Rust. I think the politicians that rage listen to Rob. Wait till later in the show to finally hit that like button. Oh, that was to Rusted Bolt Garage. Yes, not John Rust. Driver. I understand that 30,000 of Ballard's signatures are being thrown out is normal. But it makes me wonder how many of them were straight ticket voters or did not know where they really vote or live.
Well, so you got a couple things. One, if you sign the wrong sheet, it's got to be done by county.
Well, that's kind of silly.
So, like if you turn, you can have 2 counties per sheet of signatures.
I don't want red velvet cake or pineapple upside down cake either. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. You got people who aren't registered to vote. You've got people where they live is not where they're registered to vote. I mean, there's a million different reasons the signatures can get thrown out. I mean, look, it's kind of interesting because I've never seen it on that. Part of the problem for me is I did the signatures for Marlon Sussman's Senate campaign. We were all paid employees of the campaign.
Right.
So everybody had the same devices. Everybody had the same addresses. You'd go to a community. Everybody would kind of go together if you needed signatures. You'd go to they were Republicans, so you could go to a Lincoln Day dinner and get signatures. You could go to the Young Republicans meeting. So there wasn't like that big of a error like you would have here because hell, he's just got people going to Walmart to get the signatures, right? So you have a much more, like I saw that number, and I was like, damn, that's a lot of errors. But then I got to thinking about how sort of strategic it was when we did it with the party apparatus and the voter
You got to
info.
wonder why people like would even sign it with the wrong name. Like, well, I don't want to say no. It's like, well, why would you sign something that, well, I used the wrong name. So why did you even, do that?
Here's a great example. I talked to a guy yesterday because we were talking about the number. He signed. He told me the guy approached me, coming out Walmart or something. And he said he gave me the form to sign. He was like, I'm putting my kid in the car. I got a bunch of stuff going on, but I knew where he was, so I just want to help him.
Sign your house away, would you please?
Well,
don't read the other stuff.
He knew what it was. He knew what the guy was there. So, okay. Guy hands him the form. It's the wrong county. He said, I knew to look for that. So I told him, hey, you got me the wrong county. The guy hands me the right county. I sent the form. He goes, but 99% of the people had no idea to look for that.
Yeah, I would have never known.
Exactly.
I didn't know till they talked about it on the show.
Right. So those are the sort of things that happen. That guy would have totally signed the wrong form and the signatures not have counted if he hadn't known enough to know.
Yeah, it should be, okay, if you live in the state of Indiana.
Well, but they got to turn them in to each county. But you're right.
Well, they got to make it difficult.
Why do you have to go by county if it's a statewide a statewide office? Anyway.
All right. Steve Green with an E. The IEDC must be eliminated.
Oh, yeah, that's bad, isn't it?
Debbie Holcomb, make no bones about it. The IEDC is doing exactly what Braun wants them to do.
So if you're just joining us today, we had a huge story earlier on. You need to go back and listen to it. Chuck Goodrich has been named the Secretary of Commerce, which oversees the IEDC. He is the CEO of Gaylor Electric, which helps build data centers. He is not stepping down as the CEO of this company while he will oversee the incentive process for data centers that conceivably his company will make money off of. It is brazenly unethical. And everybody's just like, well, whatever. I guess it's just that's the way it works. And he's going to do it. And he'll get away with it. It's ridiculous.
The old man 68. Ooh, this looks good. We made a ding-dong cake at our bakery. The old man used to have a bakery. 4 layers of dark chocolate cake with cream filling in between with a chocolate fudge icing.
No calories in that.
Wow. That would be pretty awesome. I would eat that.
All of it.
Yeah. I'd save a little bit for everyone else, but there'd have to be one for me. All right. Continuing on.
I hope he gets you one of those just little cakes.
Well,
I'm
just happy to be in company with great people. That's all I need for my birthday.
Hope you'd get a baby cake.
Yes, a baby cake. Steve Green with an E. Braun can do that because 99% of Hoosiers pay zero attention.
Yep.
Oh, okay, but that was in response to Josh Richardson, who said, do they honestly believe no one will notice this?
Yeah.
And most people, unless they listen to the Rob Kendall Show, would have no idea.
Well, you think about it, and it's like, I saw multiple stories on this, and some of just wasn't reading closely because I already kind of knew I had my take. But the only person I saw really calling that out was Steven, Indy reporter, which got me digging into it. Now, if I hadn't followed him, I wouldn't even realized that. I mean, I probably would have eventually, but I'm saying the average person, no, of course not.
Right. Corny, 716, CEO of Gaylor, Secretary of Commerce, and head of the IEDC. What would his income be from all 3 jobs?
Well, Chuck Goodrich is stupid rich, and
that's how usually you get these jobs.
Well, it's just. But again, it comes back to another thing that people are talking about. Braun keeps appointing these people who lose elections to these super important positions. You had a chance in front of the people. The people said no thanks. Why are you getting rewarded with essentially a promotion?
Robert Schwartz, after this election, the battle for the governor's mansion begins. Who will be our next governor, Beckwith or Rokita? No, Beckwith is definitely not.
I heard somebody say the other day that Rokita's saying he's running for attorney general again, which means he wouldn't run for governor because they're on the same time.
Seems like he sees an opening, he'd take it,
Well,
unless there's a pecking order that he's agreed to wait for his turn.
Here's the thing. Rokita ran for Senate when he had a safe congressional seat, and he got smoked, right?
Mhm.
So then he ended up out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
If he does that again,
True.
somebody good, he's going to be attorney general again if he runs. It's not like anybody going to run against him.
Right.
It's a
right.
safe thing. You go for governor, and whether it's Braun or somebody else good gets in, and you lose, then you're out of the thing. So who knows?
Okay.
But that doesn't even mean that's actually going to happen. He may run for governor. Who knows?
Right. Corny 716, growing Indiana, quote unquote, by getting rid of farming. Yeah, I think he's talking about the hypocritical that would be. Hoosier 2025. Go, Rob.
Thank you.
Doesn't say where, just says go.
What's interesting, speaking of that, Mellencamp's out on tour right now. And our friend.
Have
Troy,
you seen a clip of him on tour?
Yeah.
He looks awful.
Well, he's old.
I mean, okay, so
Older.
is Mick Jagger. Yeah, older. So is Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, but they do not, they still look like, okay, we can go out and rock and roll or whatever. Mellencamp looks like he's 90-some years old, which I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. He's got his pants pulled up over his belly button. He's got his shirt tucked into the front of his pants, but not the back. It's a T-shirt that looks like it's old and hasn't been washed, and he just looks like he's going to fall at any moment, and just like that'd be the end of him.
A couple of things.
Terrible.
Because I've watched a lot of it because I love watching Troy.
I don't say you can even watch him and be entertained.
Okay, so a couple of things. Because I've watched pretty much every one of these concerts he's done. That's the great thing about YouTube now. They go up, right? And the phones are so good. It's like being there. I watched them because my friend Troy Kennett plays keys for Mellencamp. He's awesome.
Well, I used to play in a band with Johnny G, the Gunnell, the bass player.
Oh, really?
So I got you on that.
Okay,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
But my
anyway,
point
go
is,
ahead.
I think Mellencamp always does like a look. I think that's by design. He always wears a costume.
Designer. He needs a new designer.
I think, look, a guy at 74, which he is, he'll be 75 in the fall.
If he was a bar band, everybody would walk out and they would be complaining to the owner.
See, I like
It's
the
terrible.
tempo. I like the way the new sound is because I think it fits his age more. I think they've slowed it down a little bit. It would be the Mick Jagger stuff is a little ridiculous, right? At 82,
but he
to still be
looks
moving.
like he's 60 or something, which, but Mellencamp, maybe just the clip I saw. It's like his eyes were squinted shut. Mouth was barely moving. He was creeping across the stage, and it's just like, where is your walker?
But he was never. Early Mellencamp.
He was one of the best concerts I ever saw.
Well, but
back
that's
in
what I'm saying.
the
Early
80s.
Mellencamp, but I'm saying later in life, it's not like he's not Robert Plant. I don't know what you would expect. It's what now I've said this about.
You're not going to offend Troy by talking.
No. It's not about Troy. Troy's awesome. I think the Mellencamp. The tempo and the thing they're doing here fits his age. I think it would be ridiculous. Like that's what I've said about Springsteen. So I don't want to go to Springsteen show anymore. He's still trying to do the show from 1985, but it's slower now and it looks weird. With Mellencamp, okay, there he is. This is what he's doing. He's an older guy. You're there to see the hits. He's not going to sound the same as he did in 1978. I will agree with you. I saw a video of him doing I Need a Lover from 1978. Not the music video, but like a live concert.
Right.
He was amazing.
Oh, yeah. He was a great entertainer.
He was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
But I will say, okay, point of all this, though, he's doing Scarecrow because he's playing the hits on this tour.
Right.
He's doing Scarecrow, and he's talking about writing Scarecrow, and he was talking about as a kid when the interstates came in and how the interstate, and it's like everybody all kind of knew, right? This is the end of the end of the way it was because the interstate took everybody out of the small towns and the thriving merchants and the farmers and how they evaporated. And I just thought that was, we were just talking about that.
Well,
anyway.
Robert Schwartz agrees with me at producer Jason, LOL. Last time I ran into Mellencamp at the Brown County BMV, that describes him to a T.
Like you were at the BMV and Mellencamp was there getting his license? No way. Is
They
that
still give him a license?
No, wait. Is he being serious?
That's
Or was
what
he
it
just being
says.
sarcastic?
I didn't cross-examine him, but that's what he put in the
How
post.
funny would that be?
Yeah. It's like, who's that old guy? Oh, that's Mellencamp.
Yeah, how awesome would that be? Like you're sitting there.
like Willie Nelson and all those guys, it's like, that's all right. They could be 90 years old and up there because they fit the part, but he just does not fit the part anymore as a rocker, and it's just really, really weird. I know everybody's older out there doing their thing. Like, I have no interest in any of those REO Speedwagon, all those old guys, and they're like a bunch of 22-year-olds with one member, and the keyboard player is still the original member or something, and we're still REO Speedwagon.
You've been screwed up. I remember 20 years ago you bitched to me about REO Speedwagon.
Yeah, I always thought they were. Kevin Cronin ruined REO Speedwagon, but we need to continue on.
You and I having a debate about that because you hate Kevin Cronin.
He ruined it. He made him too.
He is REO Speedwagon.
No, Gary Richrath was REO Speedwagon. Ethan Hatcher. No other show can make local politics as interesting.
Thank you, Ethan.
I think we kind of got off the local politics there for a moment.
No, so your thing would be don't tour if you're Mellencamp. I mean, you look the way you look.
No, you shouldn't.
Okay, that's fine.
It's just a certain.
Yeah, okay.
He can go around, maybe do some acoustic shows by himself or something, but he's just up on stage trying to be a rocker. Just the whole band's jamming and doing, Johnny G, the black bass player, he's got his head going. And
what band did you play in with Johnny G?
It was back in that was back in the 80s when I would just call people and be like, hey, I got a gig in South Bend. Are you available this weekend? And Johnny was one of those guys that was always, he played in Roadmaster and all those bands.
Oh, yeah, I knew that.
And he was just, we were just good friends, and he would be like, yeah, Jay, I'll come up and jam with you. And yeah, that was back when you could get, you play 6 nights a week and stuff. You get a lot of money. And, I shared a hotel room with him, and Darren, I can't think of his last name, no longer with us. He was with the Toy Factory band.
Oh, yeah.
The keyboard, very talented. I played with amazing, talented guys.
I got in a rabbit hole yesterday because I was watching.
I think that's where we're headed right now.
Well, we're already there. Welcome to our show.
Yeah.
Because I was watching this Mellencamp stuff, and I found an interview with Kenny Arnoff, and it's pretty recent.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny Arnoff is 73. He looks like he's 50. He looks amazing.
I wasn't impressed with his vocal, with the way he talks either.
But his drumming is incredible.
It was incredible. Yeah, I liked him way better until I saw his interview, and something about him seemed a little off.
He gave an interview, and it's all about those years of Mellencamp for like 15 years or whatever.
And Mellencamp was a crusty old.
It was fascinating. I was fascinated. It was an hour and a half. I looked up. I said, "Oh crap! I gotta go get my kid from daycare. What am I doing?"
MLM Warriors producer Jason needs a raise and an assistant. I love it. All right, so where are we at here now? We're talking about Trump. We'll get it because I know we've killed a lot.
Sorry.
I
had to push back though because I think the Mellencamp thing fits where he's at in life. I thought it was good.
Okay, Steve. Okay, we're talking about Trump. Steve, and we'll fire through some of these. Steve Green with an E. I'm tired of this clown. Mad Duck.
Are they talking about me?
No. Oh. I said we're talking about Trump.
Oh, okay.
Mad Duck. They just keep playing the same old broken record. Josh Richardson, why haven't we already been taking out these targets? User BD2UZ7KC8V. Somebody please tell Trump that loose lips sink ships. Sue Seifert, stop this stupid war. Kevin Branham, I think Trump is starting to lose his faculties. Steve Green with an E. 100%, there should be no targets left. User with all those consonants and numbers again. Stop telling what you're going to do, Trump. C. Mills, I'm just tired of Trump changing his damn mind from one day to the next. All might is here, says Trump is desperate for a deal. He does come off incredibly desperate, and Iran obviously knows that. All right. Also, all might is here, says Rob's Trump impersonation sounds like Cartman doing Trump.
Well, we can't talk about Ted.
All right. Okay.
Ted.
Bradley Scheidler. My wife and I, along with my parents, are RSVP'd for Rust America 250 event. Woo! Everyone is excited to see Rob again. Will be first time since our wedding. There we go. All right. Apparently you might have been at their wedding, Rob. Bradley Scheidler?
Oh, yeah. That was Hammer and I went.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Hammer and I were the special guests.
All right. MLM Warriors, Rob is going off today. Steve Green with an E. Pasty white ass. Fantastic. No, that's not an image. All right, let's see. I think we need to leave it here with a couple leftover MLM Warriors. I would like to see producer Jason's face when Rob said this is how much Jason makes a year. How much was that I made a year, you said?
What was the number we were talking about?
It was whoever that 200 and some, or I don't know what it was. It was a lot of money that I don't make. And, man, we got so much more we could have got.
Sorry, I derailed it.
Yeah. Okay, the old man, by the way, talking about the baked goods, he says, my wife and I closed our bakery at the end of last year for the same reason. The cost of everything rose an average of 120%.
Jeez.
We reached our max price point and couldn't go any higher.
Jeez.
Yeah. And let's see. We got one more to leave it with here. Let's see. Did I get to that one? Okay, here we go. All right. Josh Richardson. I think it's great that – did I read this already? I think it's great that John Rust is throwing such a party all for producer Jason's birthday.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Well, it's not all for me. It's for the listeners and for everybody, and I think it was something he does. Does he do it every year?
Yeah, I think he does this thing every year.
Okay, so it's not
They turned it into like our thing.
Ah, that's because John is a hell of a guy.
That's right.
That's right. As is John McKinney from Black Sheep Plumbing. Chat brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing every day, and that'll do it for me. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.
Do you have top chatters?
Yeah.
Now, I'd like to point out you're only behind because I was trying to say something Mellencamp said, and you derailed the conversation talking about his tire. And you had to know.
I think you couldn't just accept
because Troy's my guy
opinion.
that I wasn't going to let you talk bad about Mellencamp because Troy's my guy.
The band's awesome. Okay. Number 10 in the chat was Steve Green with an E, 225 points, tied with, several people with 220, all the way from 5th down to 10th. So we've got Steve Green with an E, Josh Richardson, L.D. Stoltz, C. Mills, Driver, Robert Schwartz, all with 225 points. Everybody's getting more competitive out there.
Yeah.
Rocklaws, 275, tied with MLM Warriors at number 3 with 275. Must be whoever reaches that number first gets a higher listing, I think.
Yeah.
And then the old man, 68 with 325 points. Number 1 with 475 points all over it today was Kevin Branham.
Oh, wow. Big winner.
And the number of people in the chat today, a cool even 50.
There you go.
50 people in our chat. Show me any other local chat. Hell, show me a national chat that has 50 people chatting it up all day.
That's awesome.
There we go. Thanks to everybody. Thanks to John McKinney, Black Sheep Plumbing. Thanks to John Russ for third hour. Thanks to Rob for paying me. And I'll see you tomorrow, God willing. Rob willing.
Pastor not going to let you derail that conversation about Mellencamp.
Okay. Jesus Christ.
All right. That's going to do it for us today. You guys have an awesome rest of your day. Stay cool out there. Check on your friends. Check on your loved ones. We will see you back here tomorrow. Doug Carter's going to be with us talking about Jamie Knoll documentary, Jamie Knoll investigation. It's going to be a fascinating conversation. Guys, have a great rest of your day. For producer Jason, I'm Rob Kendall. You've been watching. You've been listening to Rob Kendall Show.